Oh yeah. Yeah, I love this day. Oh yeah. You know why I love this day? You know why I love this day? Let me tell you why I love this day, y'all. Oh yeah. Let me tell you why I love this day. You know it's Love Yourself Thursday. Yeah. You know it's Your Love. Love Yourself Thursdays, y'all. Self-love, your love. Give it to yourself today. Be purposeful today on loving yourself. Whatever it is, get it done. Oh yeah, get it done. Whatever it is, get it done. Love yourself today on a maximum. You know, you can expect other people to not love you, betray you, oh yeah, and disappoint you. But you got to have self-love. Without a doubt, that is the answer to it all. It will answer any equation, equalize any equation. Love. So we're going to start with self-love. We do it for real here at 95.7 The Boss. We are a research radio station. Oh, yeah. Our goals is to modify our behavior to improve self, family, and this community. We do it for real. We're the boss for a reason. Without a doubt, baby. Without a doubt. Today is Love Yourself Thursday, y'all. Oh, yeah. Be purposeful today. Oh, yeah. Don't do it on an accident. Be purposeful today on loving yourself. It's 7:20, y'all. If you out driving, it's slippery. Oh, yeah. It's slippery this morning, so drive slow, especially around those curves. Man, it's kind of slippery out there, so y'all be careful as y'all go to work this morning. Shouts out, what's up, Mr. Buxton? Shouts out to all the drivers out there that's transporting our precious cargo this morning. Oh yeah. Later on, I got a special announcement, man. It's gonna be. I've been praying on this. I've been really praying on this one, so I'm gonna let y'all know the 411 later today of what's happening. All right. In the meantime, we'll play some more music, y'all, and then of course it's still Black History. The last day of Black History is Sunday. Sunday we'll have Minister Farrakhan on. This Sunday he's going to be on live, so he's going to cap Black History Month. And I was talking to I was talking to somebody. They said black people always get mad when they got 28 days. No, Black History Month, as a brother or sister reminded me, Black History Month is for everyone else to learn about us. You know, we Black History 365 Black people, you know, but it's a time for other cultures around the United States to learn about our contributions. That's why I always indicate that true history needs to be in the history books. When you exclude, it creates ignorance for everyone. Without a doubt, baby, it creates ignorance for everyone. We're competing on a global level. And we should not be in the game of making our people ignorant on purpose. But that's what we do. With the system of racism, that's what we do. We on purpose, they call it prison prep, because they're arresting young people in schools. When we used to get in fights, it happens. We didn't get arrested. A lot of times we got sent home or detention or in-house suspension, but they're arresting youth now. There's everything got a criminal tag to it. Being a former probation officer and a kid growing up in Hilltop Projects, everything don't need to have a criminal tag to it. That shouldn't be the only source of so-called punishment or rehabilitation, as they would say. So later on, I got a special announcement. I have had something on my heart. I have had a lot of people come to me and to rethink my position. To rethink my position on running for mayor. I had to say, we here at 95.7 The Boss, we actually practice telling the truth. And once you do something 21 days, it becomes part of your nature. It becomes a good habit. That's what we're doing over here. The goal is to create good habits by putting it in practice, by putting it in work. So I have had a few people, several people, even while getting petitions. Good morning, Miss Lewis. Even getting signatures to get on the ballot. I've had a lot of people wanted me to rethink my position on running for mayor. There's a lot of thought, a lot of prayer, a lot of consulting. That I've been privileged to. And so as young people, as you go to school, we as adults have to teach great lessons so we can make great decisions. I had an elder, and I've referred to him on a few occasions. I'm gonna turn this music down real quick. I had an elder. He's passed now. He was named Sonny Foster. And one of the things that I try not to do, and young people, when elders give you great advice, don't forget that advice, and always remember to use that advice when it's time. We all got sometimes difficult decisions to make as we move in the time of life. But I come from an era where we didn't say woulda, coulda, shoulda. We just got it done. And so young people, of course, loyalty is one of the characteristics of courage. However, we have to have courage first. We have to have courage first to do the right thing at the right time. So I've been rethinking my position on running for mayor based off of the feedback I receive from you. Sometimes you got to listen. Sometimes you got to listen. Sometimes God speaks to different people. Sometimes the devil voice get in the mix and it's hard to decipher sometimes. Excuse me. When that happens, we just got to pray. We just have to pray. And so, like I said, I'm rethinking my position on running for mayor. I do have enough signatures, so I'm still in the race. I have enough signatures. I'm just making sure that we get extra signatures. But again, today I will make a prepared announcement. I'm not used to writing stuff down. I have to be diplomatic, I guess. I guess I'm just gonna go off my mind, off my heart. So, but I'm gonna be honest. You listen to my voice Monday through Friday. I appreciate that. And loyalty, honesty, ethics are crucial to my longevity, my growth, sustainability, and that's why I advocate those things on a daily basis, because those are the characteristics of success. But I had a talk from a young man, and when times change and people change, then the decisions of support and non-support is crucial. So I'm going to rethink. We're going to rethink. Like I said, I'll make a special announcement today. I think around 4:00. I'm gonna come back around 4:00. Need to make sure. And then I'll let y'all know what's going on. All right. And this is from the feedback that I've received, as well as some of my volunteers. And so I want to show my appreciation to all those that have helped to give me signatures for the mayor's race. And like I said, we do have enough signatures. However, to run a realistic mayor campaign, I'm turning this down. To run a realistic mayor campaign, you have to raise at least $500,000. And young people, I've ran campaigns before. I ran Mayor Fahey. Yeah, Democrat Mayor Fahey. I ran his North Omaha campaign office. I ran Larry Bradley campaign, where we got campaign fair funding fair fight funding. And so I know about campaigns and how much they cost. And so I'm gonna give you an example how they associate costs with campaigns and why campaigns raise the monies that's necessary to get their name out there. And so one of the fixed costs of running a campaign is you have to do mailers to everyone that's in your district or county or you know so you have to send mailers, and if it's 10,000 people and it costs 35 cents, do the math. You usually had to do a couple of mailers, and sometimes you had to do mailers based off of your opponent. Yard signs, yard signs is another fixed cost to run campaigns. Got to have them in your area, in your district, so people will know that you're running. That's another fixed cost. And so we're not talking about the things as far as art, the graphics, the web development. If you have an office, you're talking about utilities. You have some paid staff. Maybe if you're running a large campaign, if you're running a small campaign, you might just be paying your campaign manager. So if you're not doing mailers, you're doing flyers. Flyers cost money also to print. And so those are fixed costs. And then we're not even talking about radio, TV, digital marketing, print marketing, as far as newspaper, magazines. And so all those costs in order to run a campaign and to run a mayoral campaign, to be realistic, you need at least $500,000 to $1 million, because there's about 500,000 people here in the city limits. Of course, you target um, those consistent voters that have voted through the primary, through general election, and you take that back multiple election cycles, and you target those individuals first because they're more likely to vote. So this is what politicians, this is how they gauge on how much they're going to spend in this community, or how much they value us in regards to putting us in regard to legislation, putting us on the agenda. So politics is about money. The top crooks are politicians. Don't get mad at me. They put Martha Stewart in jail, and the same senators and congressmen are doing the same thing that Martha Stewart did. They write the rules. They know what's coming down. Come on, when you write the rules, you know what's going to come down. You can warn people if something's going to happen to a major corporation, and they can sell their stocks. That's what they do. There's a lot of corruption in government. You see it. But I'm self-made. No, I'm not paid. I'm not paid. Self-made. From Hilltop Projects, from a mother that couldn't read or write. So you can't buy me. So you need that type of leadership. And when we uh, allow complacentism, I don't know if that's a word, but I'm gonna use it, complacentism, then we're gonna be complacent in our freedom. It's Black History Month. My name is King. My big cousin is King. And so I'm going to continue to participate in our freedom. Of course, I'm Black, man. I'm Black. If for those that that's in cars that can't see me, I'm Black. This is what I know. This is how I grew up, man. I care about North Omaha. This is where I grew up at. This is where I grew up at, man. For real. Howard Kennedy, Conestoga, Kellam, King Science Center, King Ninth Grade Center, Lewis and Clark, Bryan High School. I'm from here. Long School. What you want? I'm from here. Howard Kennedy. I'm from here, man. Strictly North Omaha. But shouts out to South Howell because I went to Bryan High. Shouts out to Cedar. Had an opportunity to work at Woodson Center over in South Omaha. So got mad love for South Omaha. This is where I grew up at, man. In these communities. And so sometimes you gotta be truthful to self, and to raise $500,000 for a mayor's race in the mayor. I think she got like a couple $1,000,000 already. So I know she's gonna come out with the fire. She's gonna come out with the fire after probably and me give you a call back, bro, Pen.
All right, brother.
You coming through?
Let me come to.
Yeah,
Today?
yeah. Pull up on me
All right, around what time?
now.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So, one of the things that what's up, brother Melvin Trippett, Howard Kennedy, without a doubt. Boy, them breakfasts be good, boy. Those soybean burgers, oh, with the rye bread. Oh man, I wish I could have me a soybean burger with rye bread and some cheese on it right now. But that's flashbacks. But young people and people in general, when I mentioned earlier my mentor, Sonny Foster, who's passed now. He always taught me that there's no permanent friends, no permanent enemies. It's always permanent issues. When it's politics, there's no permanent friends, no permanent enemies. It's only permanent issues. And I missed the ball. Sometimes you got to admit when you're wrong. When you're self-wrong, you didn't listen to yourself. You didn't listen to your first mind. You yield for whatever reason. See, this is a teaching lesson. It's a hard teaching lesson, and I'm teaching even myself, because to come to this decision is a tough decision, man. But when you hear truth, when people are talking to you truthfully, you have to take that. You have to take that under advisement. There's nothing wrong with counsel. I talk about counseling all the time. Of course, I get counsel. My mother, my father, both are deceased. Of course, I went to them for counsel. My sister, I go to her. She's still, well, my sisters, I go to them for counsel now because my parents are gone. But also, I go to close friends and people that I respect for counsel and direction. We sometimes we can't be selfish in our thoughts. Can't be selfish in our thoughts. And so I am taking it under consideration far as this marriage race, because raising $500,000, I will want to put that towards something that's useful for this community. $500,000, we can use that over here. They spend that easily every day on campaigns on TV and radio and all these other mediums to get their personal name out. But we need that money over here for real, for infrastructure. I don't know. Maybe we need some intimate domain where we take up these vacant lots for people that's holding these vacant lots and start building. There needs to be a line item in the budget for North Omaha for the wrongs of the past and the continuation of the current wrongs. We gotta send. We gotta. So it's been a tough decision for me, but I told you I work for God, and when you work for God, got to make hard decisions. Got to make godly decisions, and when you see the environment around you crumbling, the environment around you not changing for the better, the environment that I've grown up in have received no economic investment from downtown. They give a corporation tax incentives. And they in North Omaha, everything north of Dodge, it should be part of the tax incentives. They let ConAgra go. ConAgra wasn't paying their fair share of taxes. We got corporation at the corporation getting incentives. They're not paying their fair share of taxes. They talking about these new developments coming, but these tax dollars these revenue dollars should be coming back to District 2 because those north downtown buildings is in North Omaha. They give us a little turn back tax. And the only reason why we got that is because Senator Chambers advocated that North and South Omaha gets parts of those dollars, those profits that Mecca generates. That came from Senator Chambers. That didn't come from local protocol, local push. We're giving like millions of dollars each year of corporations that's not being taxed. They're getting tax incentives. Where's our tax incentive? Where's our earmarks? No one is doing nothing specifically for North Omaha. People's perception of North Omaha is that we're violent. This is focus group information. This is the perception of what people have of North Omaha. That perception has to be changed. Greatness comes from here. Without a doubt, baby, greatness comes from here. So when you see, as I drive around and I see nothing has changed, I see new immigrants, which is great for the diversity coming in and starting major businesses, and black people are still dealing with the same. Of course, we got a great, I feel, a great police chief. However, we still have way more contact from uh, being pulled over by the police. We got to look at being a former probation officer. I think we need to really look at our bail system. People that have no money have high bails. They can't get out of jail, offer um, non-violent or non-victim misdemeanors, and they're in jail, can lose their job, and a ripple effect. No one's perfect. Y'all act like y'all perfect. None of y'all perfect. I just want to remind y'all. I think, yeah, because you got a little money in a car, and you got a car garage opener. Little sports car. I mean, y'all think y'all something. I don't know. I don't know if I can even be a politician because, well, I know I probably have to stop this morning show because I'll come on here and spank people. They probably want to spank me too. So if I become a politician, I'm not gonna do this because I care too much about this community for people to come over here and lie to us and cheat on purpose, manipulate on purpose. That's what they do. So today is Love Yourself Thursday. And the reason why I'm talking like I'm talking is because this is what people go through every day. Be purposeful today on loving yourself like people are purposeful on creating hurt. Be purposeful on loving yourself today so you have the potential of loving someone else, not only today, but forever. We do this here for real. We don't participate in the ignorance. We're not going to participate in the devil's destruction. It is Black History Month. I've looked at the history of what has happened to my ancestors. I'm not happy with it. I'm upset of the torture that my brothers and sisters have gone through. I'm disappointed in our current brothers and sisters because they show no respect for the decisions that their ancestors had to make so they can be alive. It's Black History Month. We don't show love to each other. I'm playing old clips from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, and we still dealing with the same rhetoric. We still dealing with poverty, disparities. We still dealing with the same thing for 50 years ago, y'all. And as I drive around this community, particularly in North Omaha, of course, there's greatness over here and there's great areas, but I'm talking particularly business, man. If we ain't talking business, it don't make no sense. Of course, we need affordable housing, but we need business so we can start generating commerce and creating jobs for ourselves. When are we going to stop asking for a handout? Uh, racism is this. Racism people don't want to give you nothing. They blame you. They don't want to look at the true history of why we're in this condition. Black people, Black Americans are a very unique humanoid. Let me get down to the science. Black people in America, and the Americans, are a unique humanoid. You know why? Because our original language, names are gone. It's Black History Month, y'all. If it's not being taught in our schools, we're gonna teach it here. And if white people don't understand, or Mexican or Chinese don't understand, then you're gonna understand today that our original names were taken from us. It was beaten out of us. It was branded out of us like they do cattle. You know how they do cattle? And a farmer and a rancher brand their cattle so they can say, this is my herd. That's what they did to Black people. And that's what's happened, man. This is I cannot, especially watching all our history and what's been done to us. We've been shot in our backs, and just to have freedom, just to be treated with some respect and dignity, you get shot in your back and get hung. I know y'all want to talk about it, but we can't participate in the ignorance, and we can't continue to perpetuate foolery. We can't continue to be complacent in acceptance of our current situation. So what we gonna do? Got to be truthful with self. That's the only thing we can do. That's the only thing we can do. All right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna try to find this interview. I think I found an interview, and I'm kind of fired up because I listened to Malcolm's speech the other day, "Ballot or the Bullet." I encourage you to go back and listen to that speech, Malcolm X, "Ballot or the Bullet." I'm gonna be finding something on Tony Moore's. This one is called "What Are White People Without Racism?" What are white people without racism? And so we're gonna play Toni Morrison. She's a famous author. I'm gonna find that interview. Uh, Again, our goal here is to enlighten you on uh, those that came before us, that have participated in the timeline of freedom. And so we are going to find, and she is a Nobel Peace recipient. And so once I find this interview, let me find this interview, and then we are going to play it. Again, here at the Boss, she got, Toni Morrison. Okay. Well, let me find this interview real quick. Let me put some music on real quick. We're going to come back with Toni Morrison. Again, today is Love Yourself Thursday. Be purposeful on loving yourself. Also today, I'm gonna come back again today around 4 o'clock, make a special announcement on the mayor race. So in the meantime, boss with me.
Listen to me. On my life, I don't have no real enemies, but I know everybody is not a friend to me. I show my people love, that's why I always get it back. And I stand up for my family, one phone call I will attack. And real recognize real, so I don't see you haters. And I'm not talking about my brothers, I'm talking about these snakes. They smiling in our face, but turning us against ourselves. Killing all the black kings to keep the queen from getting out. We 40 cal, self-trained, so we don't need the army busting down my door. I wish these martial law try me. We some psychopaths, raised in the projects, and I ain't met a move. Yeah, who can dodge a tech? Hey, cause this the year of the black power. We going all in, man, this shit is ours. Hey, we moving forward, ain't no turning back. The idea was born in America, being black. Hey, cause this the year of the black power. We going all in, man, this shit is ours. Hey, we moving forward, ain't no turning back. The odds against us born in America, being black. They call us militant and racist cause we still resist the brainwashing and genocide by this government. My people waking up and now at least we more conscious with plans of unity, but still we must proceed with caution and breaking the cycle of thinking like slaves. Gather up knowledge and nurture your brain to change the situation. Death is what our race is facing. We in a nation where they shoot us first, ask questions later. Black lives mean nothing in their eyes, we just a perpetrator. And marching and holding rallies, that's not doing nothing. We tried it Martin's way and still our people struggling. It's time to educate and elevate from all the hate. Our future generations is at stake. We don't have time to waste. Cause this the year of the black power. We going all in, man, this shit is ours. Hey, we moving forward, ain't no turning back. The odds against us born in America, being black. Hey, cause this the year of the black power. We going all in, man, this shit is ours. Hey, we moving forward, ain't no turning back. The odds against us born in America, being black. Black power, black power, black power, black.
I mean, these are the
black.
What are you?
Black power.
Are you good? Are you still strong? You still smart? You still like yourself? I mean, these are the questions. It's part of it is, yes, the victim, how terrible it has been for black people.
Like that.
I'm not a victim. I refuse to be one.
And the victim is the other person who is morally inferior. And
That's a
has
serious
to hold
question.
on to
Of course.
racism
If you
to
have to
somehow
hold, that's
for his or her own self-esteem and definition.
If you can only be tall because somebody's on their knees, then you have a serious problem. And my feeling is white people have a very, very serious problem. And they should start thinking about what they can do about it. Take me out of it.
Again, that was Toni Morrison. I'm trying to find a longer speech with her. That was only like about 50 seconds. Again, I will be coming back around 4 o'clock to make a special announcement on the mayor's race. I'm going to recalibrate and pivot. So I gotta let you know first. All right, we're gonna let you guys know first. We'll give you guys the 411 around. Of course, I gotta put you in suspense. I gotta have you come back, man. This is how we do. We put you in suspense. You know what I mean? Like Thriller. You know, I mean, since we can't have normal life, we might as well have some real suspense in life. But realistically, and being a former counselor, well, actually being a current counselor, one should not lie to self. When you lie to self, that means you're already defeated. People can come in and infiltrate and take over and influence. And so never lie to self. You got to look yourself in the mirror and see if you're honest with self. And sometimes you got to go with your first mind, your first gut, because that's the God gut. All right. And so I'm at that crossroads, and life dictates hard decisions sometimes. And we're going to use this as a teaching moment. All right. So I'm going to play some more music real quick, and then I'm going to be right back with you. Boss with me.
Let's fade on the keys.
We the people that rise, we the people that hustle, we the people that struggle, we the people that fight for it, we the people that work, we the people that hurt, we the people that live, we the people survive, we the people that stand up, we the people that try, we the people that give. We the people that hope, we the people that want peace, but we the people that know. Ain't no peace when police killing in these streets. Ain't no love, and it ain't no drug that's gonna change how it be. And at night I hear the shooting, cause it wake me out my sleep. Damn, another brother died cause of crooked police. We the people gotta speak, gotta rise up out the seat. Don't nobody really care, a brother die about every week. More killing from your brothers than the police. COP 12 one time and Blue Street. Supposed to protect the peace, but you act like our enemy. Run up on us with your pistols and put us down on our knees. Then you search us, don't find nothing, and still don't want us to leave. You start shooting like it's a movie, we figure it's OV. We the people that rise, we the people that hustle, we the people that struggle, we the people that fight for it, we the people that work, we the people that hurt, we the people that live. We the people survive, we the people that stand up, we the people that try, we the people that give, we the people that hope, we the people that want peace, but we the people that know.
We the people they call savages, recreating our images as primitive. With slavery days made it definitive, based on race, what a disgrace. Man, that's ridiculous, it still ain't changing, it's sad to say. We gotta live through this, living under tyranny, under guise of democracy, where people have a voice to people living in poverty. Our hoods are still the same, where it's nothing but broken property, and jobs don't pay enough. More money comes from a robbery. Solution is to put us in prison, never to listen. Not understanding the issue, problems nobody fixing. They try and hold us down, and still my brothers uplifted, cause they blind to our struggle, but we got vision. T-Bone.
We the people that rise, we the people that hustle, we the people that struggle, we the people that fight for it, we the people that work, we the people that hurt, we the people that live. We the people survive, we the people that stand up, we the people that try, we the people that give, we the people that hope, we the people that want peace, but we the people that know.
All right, Omaha. We that people without a doubt. I do got an interview with Toni Morrison, famous author. She is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. And so we want to play another individual that has participated in our freedom. Again, this is Black History Month. This is an opportunity for those to learn about the contributions of Black people. And so this is Toni Morrison. Again, we're going to cap this on Sunday. We're going to have Minister Farrakhan. He'll be on live. And so we'll broadcast them and we'll hear what the brother has to say. This Sunday, the last day on the 28th. But in the meantime, we're going to play Toni Morrison. If you guys got any other suggestions on who you'd like to hear from the past that participated in our struggle, please let me know, and then we'll make that happen. All right. We'll probably even continue this during March because again, I want to make sure that people know about our contributions. All right. So. Cool. Here we go.
And believe it.
It's about 27 minutes.
The audience at this Blue Ribbon literary event in London was eager to hear what Toni Morrison could deliver in her first book since joining the elite ranks of Nobel laureates in 1993.
Toni Morrison does not, I suspect, need much introduction to this audience. There was a huge demand for tickets tonight, and we all know that we're very lucky to be here. This forum is proud to welcome the force and felicity of Toni Morrison tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to read from Paradise a section in a chapter called Consolata. Consolata looked at them through the bronze or gray or blue of her various sunglasses and saw broken girls, frightened girls, weak and lying.
Toni Morrison's seventh novel, Paradise, is set in the America of the 60s and 70s.
But more and more
it tells the story of a colony of traumatized women in conflict with a conservative religious town.
One by one, they would float down the stairs, carrying a kerosene lamp or a candle like maidens entering a temple or a crypt, to sit on the floor and talk of love as if they knew anything at all about it. They spoke of men who came to caress them in their sleep, of men waiting for them in the desert or by cool water, of men who had once desperately loved them, of men who should have loved them, might have loved, would have. On her worst days, when the maw of depression soiled the clean darkness, she wanted to kill them all.
Where's Luke?
Omaha. I found a better interview, but in the meantime, let me play this song, and then I'm gonna cue it up. We'll be right back with you. Boss with me.
Let's fade on the keys.
Theater down on the theater down on the theater down on the theater down on
I show no ID. You know why? Cause I'm VIP.
Slavery to the Harlem Man, Jazz, who killed his young lover. Morrison's characters are haunting and unforgettable. She now teaches at Princeton University, and Jazz, her most recent novel, is just out in paperback, and we are welcome to our broadcast. Critic John Leonard calls her, quote, the best writer working today in America. But Toni Morrison did not even start until she was 30 years old. Now, after 6 novels, a Pulitzer Prize, and a National Critics Circle Award. Her critical prose and her lyrical prose is widely hailed. She writes about love and sex, black and white, men and women, from the mother and beloved who kills her 2-year-old child to save her from slavery, to the Harlem man in jazz who kills his young lover. Morrison's characters are haunting and unforgettable. She now teaches at Princeton University, and Jazz, her most recent novel, is just out in paperback, and we are very pleased to have her here. Welcome.
Thank you.
When you think about all the things that they say, I mean, she may be the last classic American writer squarely in the tradition of Poe, Melville, Twain, and Faulkner, and all the nice things that's been said about you. When you look back to Lorain, Ohio, and your mama, and your papa, and your brothers and your sisters, do those experiences shape what you write today? The music, storytelling, what you learned, what they gave you?
Very much. I'm completely informed by that community, by my extended family, the language particularly, not just the survival, but the way they spoke. You know, the language of average, poor African Americans is always discredited, as though it was impossible for them to speak or they were stupid. But there was this incredible merging of new language and biblical language and sermonic language, street language and standard that created a third thing for me.
A third thing?
A third kind of way of expressing yourself. They had, they pulled from all the places. And that's what I tried to incorporate in
Your
my
mother
books.
loved music.
Oh yeah, she's
sang.
a powerful singer, powerful singer.
And you didn't inherit that musical talent.
No.
But you inherited by osmosis a sense of loving music and every, I mean, gospel infuses beloved.
Oh, yes.
Jazz
But this book,
infuses
yes.
jazz.
Yeah. It was not entertainment for us, you see. I woke up to the sound of my mother's voice. And it was information. I knew her mood. And it was a support system for us. It wasn't something where you went in order to feel good and then you came back. It was real information. It was powerfully influencing on me.
There was this tradition of storytelling as well,
Oh, yeah.
to pass on. Have we lost that?
I hope not. It's done professionally now, you
Right,
know.
it is. You see these professional storytellers
Right,
who
and
go
now
from
there's,
place
you
to
know,
place
books
to
on
place.
tapes
Right.
and so on. But in those days, it's pre-television, of course, even pre-radio. I remember life without a radio. And when adults sat around and told stories, and more importantly, or equally as important, at some point we were invited to tell stories also. And that's a major performance for a child, to be able to repeat a story with a little variation, your own, for adults, in order to get, if it's a ghost story, to make them shiver again.
To watch them enjoy
That's
your
right.
performance.
That's right. So that was a very important part.
Who gave you the gift or the interest or the curiosity about reading?
Well, there was a story in my family that privileged my grandfather because he was unable to go to school in Alabama. He was very young, born before 1865, and learned how to read from his sister. So there was this incredible awe of him because he had taught himself to read with his sister, and because he had read the Bible through 3 times, and he read all the newspapers, and this was, something with a great deal of respect and awe. And also, even though we didn't have a lot of books, we were encouraged to read. I don't remember life
without books.
Before I could read, I don't remember myself before I understood language, even, written on the pavement or on walls and so on.
Did you show gift then?
Didn't look like gift to me. I was one of those, everybody in my family could play music without music lessons, and they couldn't read music, but they could sit down and reproduce it.
Yeah. Ear.
They sang, that's right, by ear. They sent my sister and I to take violin lessons and piano lessons. So I thought I was deficient because why did I have to go learn these things that everybody else could do naturally, so to speak? No one ever told me that this was a good idea to be able to read music. So being able to write or tell stories, I mean, it took me a long time. Even when teachers said nice things to me, I thought that the only reason other people didn't do that was because they weren't interested in it. It never occurred to me that there was anything exceptional about whether, my writing and so on. It does now. But at that time, it just seemed like something I was interested in.
When you went away to Howard and then to Cornell, did you dream of teaching or writing or what?
Oh, teaching.
Teaching.
I wanted to be a teacher, and I was. And I did that as a young adult. I mean, when I left graduate school, I taught at Texas Southern University. Then I went to Howard University again as a teacher and stayed there until I couldn't stay there any longer.
Because?
I didn't have a PhD. And you have to, you know, in those days, they even let you come in without a PhD, not anymore.
Then you went to Random House in Syracuse?
Yeah, I became an editor, textbook editor.
Had the dream of writing come in yet? You then came to New York and rose as an editor at Random House, teaching on Friday.
I rose, but
You
I
were there.
stayed.
But you were teaching a little bit too on Fridays.
Yes.
You go
Oh,
to
yeah.
teach at Yale or
Right.
Rutgers or wherever. Teaching creative writing or teaching what?
I taught creative writing.
Yeah. Now, when did the dream come, though, to put it down pencil to paper?
Well, I'm a little embarrassed to tell you this, but I didn't even call myself a writer until after my third book. After Song of Solomon, I began
So
to...
it got critical, good reviews.
Well, I knew that was central to my life after I had written the first book, The Bluest Eye. I mean,
What
I
did
knew
it tell you about yourself?
that I was an ill-advised woman who could not say, like the big guys, I am a writer. I always said I am a teacher who writes or an editor who writes, but I never said the real thing until after I'd written a third book. It's the sort of thing that women frequently do. They sort of need permission to tell themselves that this is the work they do. Even when I wrote The Bluest Eye,
The first book.
I was really writing a book I wanted to read. I mean, I didn't know, I hadn't seen a book in which Black girls were center stage. They were usually, I don't know, somebody's joke or on the periphery.
You were
somewhere.
writing it for yourself, not for any audience, not for African Americans, not for anybody, for yourself.
For me. I wanted to read it. I wanted to read a book that had no codes, no little notes explaining things to white people, no little clues, just something that I already knew and what was more provocative about it. And I had a major, major question in my mind at that time, which was, how does a child learn self-loathing for racial purposes? Where does it come from? Who enables it? How is it infectious? And then what might be the consequences?
And what were the answers?
You learn it from the society at large.
Institution.
But more importantly than that, at a certain time, the self-loathing can be reinforced by one's own family, one's own community. You know, that the concept of what is ugly can just be reinforced by people next door. I remember girls who weren't blonde, who longed for that and felt terrible about themselves. I mean, all this physical beauty business is painful if you have to do what you do now, which is cut yourself up in little bits.
Most of us have no idea of the pain it causes people because the society and the culture and the media and the magazines and the television and all the commercials bombard them with what it is to be attractive. And they define attractiveness in our culture, and they find what's good and what's bad. So that all of a sudden, if you don't look like that, you say, I don't like myself. And how do I go change myself?
It's death. It's interior death. You never have an opportunity to develop what's really valuable, which is grace, balance, health, virtue, all those good things that each of us can be. But now, if you're going to worry about hair and skin color, how tall you are and how short. I mean, I don't mean that self-esteem is not bound up in some of these things, but I'm talking about obsessive.
Self-esteem is bound up in everything.
Well, sure. Yeah, it is. It is.
So, excuse me. When you did, there must have come a point in which you realized you could write at least after Song of Solomon. And you said what? What was the joy? What was the excitement? What did it bring to you? What did it mean to you?
I knew I could write long before
okay,
that.
But what was
really
success?
hot.
I mean, I guess you thought what?
I thought it was really hot. I thought it was really good.
Hot, good,
powerful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That people wanted to read what you said.
No. I thought I was wonderful.
Oh, you were wonderful.
And I thought the writing was extraordinary and different and radical and beautiful. That's what I thought. I did not think that there would be a lot of people who would share that view. So I was never ever convinced that I would have a wide readership. I always thought it would be, 400 other people who thought the same thing I did. And when that changed, and it changed with Song of Solomon, that was a commercial success.
Right.
There were lots and lots of people. I was delighted. And that's when I said, I called myself a writer, used the label. And what had preceded it was just a sense that the center of my intellectual life was that work. That's when I felt coherent, really as though I belonged here on this place.
To do this thing.
That's right.
What was the joy of it for you?
Finding out answers to these incredible questions that it seemed to me had never been put subtly. And if they had been, the language had not manifested it. I wanted the language to be what the question was. I wanted the language to simply hold it. I started my career with the bluest eye of putting the entire plot on the first page.
The entire plot?
The whole story is there.
So you know it.
So the reader reads the first page, he knows exactly what happened. And if he turns the page, it's because he wants either to find out how it happened or he loves the language.
And you hope for both of those things.
I hope for both of those things.
And those characters, you have said this before, that in each of these novels, one self-loathing, that's a question you want answered.
How does that happen?
And how's that happen? What was the question as we move up Song of Solomon?
Song of Solomon was about this sort of political problem that young adults have, which is trying to combine upward mobility, middle-class bourgeois upward mobility, with some kind of respect and reverence for their ancestors. There's always this conflict, as though if you go to college, then you can't go back to Lorain, Ohio, or if you stay in Lorain, Ohio, you have to despise everybody who went on. Not quite that simple, but you understand what that tension is. So I was trying to figure out how somebody who's in his late 20s or 30s got educated, a man I chose, because I thought they sort of started from zero anyway, and what would help inform him to learn how to be a complete human being without these conflicts, without these self-destructive impulses for material things, gold, cars.
How do the characters come to you?
Well, I start with the idea, such as the one I described.
The plot.
And not the plot, the question.
With the question.
Right. And then I try to figure out what kinds of people can manifest that for me, can do that for me. Do I need men or women, or short people or tall people?
What kind
Where
of
should they
conflict
be?
between them?
That's right. And set that up. Then I have to fully realize the characters and sort of love them without approving of them necessarily, but really love them. And my earnest desire is whomever they are, is to do them justice.
Beloved, what was the question?
The question was, who is the beloved? Who is the person who lives inside us that is the one you can trust, who is the best thing you are? And in that instant, for that segment, because I had planned several books around that theme, it was the effort of a woman to love her children, to raise her children, to be responsible for her children. And the fact that it was during slavery made all of those things impossible for her.
She couldn't do it.
She couldn't be a mother because, and there was this interesting historical incident, the Margaret Garner story, in which that actually happened. There was a great deal of infanticide in order to prevent her from living a life she believed would be intolerable. But that's her claim, kind of a control that she was trying to exercise in order to be simply a mother, and that the best thing she was this lovely child, or these children. And of course, that set her on a very complicated, self-destructive journey. But the question was still there. And the answer, or at least the other question that's delivered, is when somebody asks her or tells her, no, you are your best thing. You are.
Is this journey painful for you?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Especially.
Oh, the slavery stuff was terrible, because it's one thing to sort of know historically, abstractly, conceptually, generally what it was like, but imagining that life, which is sort of entering it very fundamentally, is very, very difficult for me. And the only thing that made it really possible to stay there, you know, was just little things, just knowing that you couldn't see your husband in the daytime, only at night, only when the sun was dark, because people worked from sunup to sundown. The only thing that made it really possible for me was thinking, well, I didn't have to do it. I just had to imagine it. So I can't be too self-regarding and precious about all that. If they could do it, I can write about it. I mean, I could get tough enough.
You say that you found out, I mean, this notion that slavery existed for 300 years. You gave it that length, that time. And 60 million people died because of slavery.
I asked around, trying to get figures. Some people said, I don't know, less.
200 million. Some people said 10 million.
Yeah.
Some people said.
So if you think of the
like
Middle
a lot
Passage,
of people, doesn't it?
yeah, well, you know, who kept records? But you look and see how many people died in those ships, how many people committed suicide, jumped off the boats, how many people were rounded up and never made it to the ports, and then how many generations were cut off. You have, it's a nation, it's a real nation, nations upon nations who did not live. And of course, if you think that the people who did arrive and did stay alive were the strongest and the toughest, I mean, they lasted, then you have this race of these sort of giants here in the country. But what was really interesting to me was there was no lore about the Middle Passage. There were no songs about it. There were no poems about it. There are contemporary poems, but it didn't survive in spirituals and gospels except obliquely, as though these people had to do something extremely important, which was to forget that in order to get on with the next day. And if you're going to survive and be around for your children, you just can't stay there. You just can't dwell there in the past. But that was a survivalist technique. But at the same time, it's as though those people have never been mourned properly.
Was it hard to come to another novel after Beloved and all the acceptance that it had and the Pulitzer Prize and say to yourself, because you write all the time, you write before 5 o'clock because you want to start writing before the sun comes up. You want to see the sunlight, the light of the early morning. You don't take vacations very much, writing pretty much every day, I guess. But was it hard to say, what do I do now?
I knew the next idea was going to be the same question, who is the beloved, but with a male-female, you know, sexual encounter.
Passion.
That's right. Real passion. A sort of thing where you say, I can't live without you, and you really mean it. What is that?
There was a story that you saw there was a Harlem photographer named James Vanderlee or something.
Vanderzee.
Vanderzee. And he'd taken a photograph.
Yeah, he took
a true story of a woman.
He took a whole slew of pictures of dead people for the bereaved family. Little babies in father's arms, and I don't know where that came from, but there was this whole world of dead people pictures, which they put on their mantles and decorated and so on. And there was this one girl lying in a coffin around 18 years old, and he describes how she died. And he says she went to a rent party, one party, and she was dancing and she slumped, and her friends thought she was sick, and they took her in the bedroom and they saw blood, and they said, what happened to you?
She refused.
And she said, I'll tell you tomorrow. She knew what had happened to her. An ex-lover had come in and shot her with a silencer, and she wanted him to get away. And I thought, now that isn't the most romantic teenage passion. And to put it right in the jazz age, which is full of passion, romance, music, license, you know, Black people in the city, empowered now. It just seemed an ideal story.
You don't write about in jazz the Harlem Renaissance. You're not writing about all the people who populate. You're writing about ordinary people.
Exactly. I didn't want to write about the stars of that period because, first of all, a lot has been written on that. Right. And also, I wanted the book to really be about the people who didn't know they were living in an era. I mean, the same thing was true for Sethe in Beloved. She didn't know she was a classic example of something. These people think they're living in a large city, and they don't have the delight of the revisionism or the historical, just ordinary people. Jazz was for ordinary people. Jazz is ordinary people. Jazz isn't even jazz. I mean, I never used the term in the book. I mean, it was it's the whole concept of jazz, of where it came from, what's the etymology. It's a very, suggestive source of word, and it always carries with it something illegal and illicit and risque. And also it's the music of the young.
Yeah.
Every time
And
young people invent music, everybody hates it. I mean,
and then it becomes accepted cultural.
That's
voice.
right, later when they get old.
Yeah. So you write this about these characters, and then you now are in a position, you also write a couple of essays. You write an introduction to an essay about Clarence Thomas and the Thomas hearings, and also you give a series of lectures at Harvard. Have you come to the next question for the next novel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you share it?
No.
No, because you...
Well, I could share a little bit, but it's too early, Charlie.
All right.
It's too early.
If I look, August Wilson is a playwright, is chronicling the African-American experience decade by decade. What are you chronicling in your novels?
Well, pretty much, I think in the last 3 books, the same thing.
Yeah.
Because even though I said I couldn't
Slavery,
share this third one.
defined by its own time. Harlem is the sharecroppers coming up in the 30s and 40s.
This next book, I can tell you, is later, but it relies on something I think is not well known or treated fictionally. Are those all Black towns that Black people founded right after the Civil War. Hundreds of them, all over Kansas and I don't mean neighborhoods or townships, but complete towns with banks and schools and so on. And what happened to those towns?
And what did happen to them?
Well,
historically?
Some of them were raided and displaced by white people who either wanted the land or the depot. Some of them just fell on bad times because the cotton crash, but some of them fell on bad times because of what happens to towns like that, internecine battles for power and control.
Families against families and people fighting for turf.
Yeah, so I'm going to call it paradise.
Paradise? Why paradise?
That's what they thought they would.
They thought it was paradise. Are you writing for now an audience? I mean, I read a story about a young man, a young African-American student who stands up at Princeton or somewhere at a lecture, and he says, "Who's your audience?" And you said, "You are my audience. I'm principally writing for you." Tell me who you're writing for. What did you mean to that young man?
Well, I reduced it to a cliche almost, which is to say, I want to write for people like me, which is to say, Black people, curious people, demanding people, people who can't be faked, people who don't need to be patronized, people who have very, very high criteria. That seemed to me the way Black people always were. I mean, you can't fake them out in music. I mean, if you can't do it that way, you just can't be there. You can't fake them out in basketball. They always are reinventing the level of achievement, raising it, raising it, raising it. But somehow, so much of the literature, or at least the work about the literature, was depressing it, and writing sort of simple-minded stories, the popular literature. And I wanted to have my work to be as complex, as intricate, as subtle as the music was, or anything else that Black people did in a group. So that when I say I'm writing for you, young Black man, or me, I am not marginalizing him. I am not making him peripheral. I'm saying this is very important, and I know your demands are high.
Are you, as you write this, trying to redefine for America how the African-American experience fits in the American history and the American experience?
That's good. That's exactly right.
I got it.
That's good. You got it right.
Give me an A. And you're at Princeton, and Cornell is there, and others are there, and they tried to get Henry Gates, but they were from Duke, and they ended up at Harvard, and there is a powerful group of scholars and writers, and Cornell is a great friend of this broadcast. And this is part of an effort to say to us in America, what?
If you study the culture and art of African Americans, you are not studying a regional or minor culture. What you are studying is America. That the access, the route via the culture of the people of this country is interdisciplinary, it's provocative, it's reflective, and it's about you and me. Ralph Ellison already said it at the end of Invisible Man. This is not separate. Not only is African American culture and art not separate, it has impacted enormously on white culture, but neither is white culture. The book that I did, the lectures, Playing in the Dark, was an examination of how Melville and Twain and Hemingway and Flannery O'Connor and all of these people got, brilliantly or not, a lot of mileage out of wrestling with those questions about the presence of African Americans in this country.
Why has racism been so dominant in our life? What is it about African?
It's about feeling good. I mean, racists...
You need to feel that you are better than someone. And
Some
so
people do.
with every ethnic group that comes to America,
Oh,
it's
sure.
African Americans who they need to feel better.
Oh, yeah, they made some changes, but there was always, in other words, if a German or an Italian or whomever came to this country trying to Americanize himself, he could sort of stay with Germans or stay with Italians or stay with Irish people, which in fact, frequently they did. But in order to become an American, to have consort with, easy relationships with people from other parts of Europe, the one thing that could unify you is that you were no longer an Italian. Now you're white. That was the unifying stroke. If all of those people from Europe, who weren't white in Europe, but they got white here.
And
that was the
that
lesson.
gave them a unity.
That's right.
And it gave them a bond with a group. It gave them something that made set them apart.
It became whiteness as ideology.
Tell me the story of growing up and this young man who came there and didn't know epithets towards African Americans until he learned.
You mean in my life?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, this town I lived in, this little steel town, and it was full of immigrants and Black people and Mexicans and all sorts of people who were coming there for work because it was a steel town. And I remember being in the second grade, and I read before I came to school, so I was a fairly quick reader, and the teachers would frequently choose a student who couldn't read to sit next to me, you know, teaching the blind children or reading for them. And this young Italian boy came into class, and my last name was a W, so I sat in the back, and his was Z or something. Anyway, he was put next to me. That's right, Wofford. And we were good friends. I taught him how to read. He was young enough to learn. He's very smart. And I remember the day, it was just like 6 weeks later, when he entered the class, and he couldn't sit next to me, and he couldn't speak to me, and he had learned in 6 weeks not only the word nigger, but what that meant and how disempowering it was for him to be my friend. It was shocking because I felt bereft, but I also felt that there was some trauma. I mean, I felt that later, that he had experienced. You know, if somebody says, oh, you know that person you used to like? Yeah. Well, that person is no longer worthy of those affections that you had. So you've lost your judgment, your instincts, you know, all of these things are separated. Now, if that happens to you, and you have some problems with national identity or religious identity or what have you, it's very comfortable to have a whole group of people who are unlike you, who you can surmise and hope are inferior.
Some would say, what about what about immigrants to this country from Latin America? Different skin color. Are they experiencing the same thing?
In some degree, I think so, yes. Some of them are very busy making sure that whatever their skin color, it's not Black. That has been the case in most immigrant experiences. It's always Koreans versus the Blacks, or the Dominicans versus but the only common denominator is Black. I mean, that's the engine. that unifies this, and helps you to enter into the mainstream, is this antipathy to the blacks. It used to be. Now I think probably less, because there's just too much idiocy connected with it.
Is there any answer other than education? And what is it going to take to lance and spill out all the poison of racism?
I have to come down on the side of education.
That's
but
the only hope.
Well, there's a certain kind of moral leadership that could help. I mean, the contempt for poor people, the contempt for difference that is everywhere, in education, in politics, everywhere, is part. It's not just school responsibility. I mean, imagine raising your children to despise other people. Imagine living in a world in which you're perfectly willing to trash all of your big cities, to flush all of the big cities down the toilet because of the word inner city, which means those people who live there, or to trash your whole public school system, to sink it, in other words, because of the contempt for those people. One of the things I was trying to do in jazz was to try to recall what it was like when people went to the city, when big cities were the place to go. No matter who lived there, it was the variety, the absolute knowledge that 10 blocks in any direction was that other person. But it was all right because there was some strength in numbers and nobody was simply trashing it.
You call New York the only great America, the only great city, right?
The last real city.
The last real city. Why?
Because you have real neighborhoods, real mixtures of classes, races, and so on, in parts of this, in large parts of the city.
You don't have it in Washington and Chicago and Los Angeles?
Aren't there little pockets there? You know, the neighborhoods are pretty much confined, it seems to me. And it's somewhat in this city, too, in terms of the very rich and the middle class and so on. But you can still find in New York that organic quality, you know, in many neighborhoods.
Why is Horror Jazz the only book in which you've said it given a New York setting?
Well, I'm not a city girl, you know, I'm from a little small town.
That's right.
But I thought I could, I'd better put jazz in New York.
Well, you had to set it in New York.
Oh, yeah.
When you think about the politics of America, you know, political leaders don't have the will to deal. The political will to deal.
I don't know about those guys. I mean, I'd be befuddled by them. I'm really befuddled. I guess it's just power and power strategies, and I got mine and you get yours. You know, we talk now about the man who is now the president of the country. I hear people say he is going to have difficulty getting his health care plan through, or he is going to have trouble getting his stimulus. It's not his, it's ours. It's not a personal relationship. It's ours, or it's not ours. It's not his war against Bosnia. It's ours. So this confrontational, personal relationship with these leaders is really boring me a lot, because it's almost as though
we personalize the conflict.
That's right. As though we don't participate in it, although we don't have a share in it, except to criticize or to support in some very rudimentary, elementary, either or way.
I want to come back to self-esteem and identity, because you said that Clarence Thomas, Justice of the Supreme Court, tried in an essay, what was it called? What was the name of the book? It was called Redefining American, what?
Raising Justice, Engendering Power, the Construction of Social Reality.
Was that your title?
No, I thought it was great. Nobody else agreed.
You said that he was trying to bleach his blackness. Isn't that too strong for Clarence?
I didn't say that, Charlie.
You didn't say that?
No.
Okay, I misread then. What do you think of Clarence Thomas and his experience? Because much was made of this African-American man who'd worked very hard. Do you think because he was a conservative, because he was a Republican, that somehow he had sold out, he had lost his identity?
My questions about him were not his being a conservative, but I thought that place ought to go to somebody who was brilliant. And all of the people who supported Clarence Thomas, nobody said, he's brilliant. We need, as though they couldn't find a conservative Black justice who was brilliant. Now, all of the other things that happened about whether or not he in fact was, that what Anita Hill said was true about him,
Right.
whether in fact he was a traitor to his race, those things were really quite secondary to me. I mean, they're important, but in my essay, I was trying to say, listen, there's a kind of process of rescue in which someone who has had dumped on him all of the terrible things that racism can bring about, and who makes an effort to deal with it. And even he said, you know, if you follow through on what happens to you as a Black person, you either have to subscribe to violence or profit. Profit. Meaning if you're going to make it in the world, in the white world, you better give it up. That's right.
Your choice is either violence or profit.
That's right. Profit meaning upward mobility, right. Conservative, or not even conservative, but certainly you're not going to emphasize your ethnicity.
But you believe in upward mobility.
Of course.
Right?
Absolutely.
Of course you do.
But I'm not going to give up one drop of melanin in order to get there. I'm not going to erase my race or my gender to get there. I want all of it. I deserve all of it, and we all do. I don't want to be blanded, bleached out in order to participate in this country and walk any hall of power or corridor that I want to. If I'm not good enough, if I'm not smart enough, then that's it. I'll take that hit.
Judge me by my deeds.
That's right.
Arthur Ashe was here, the late Arthur Ashe,
yes.
and he said to me, as he said in one other place, he said, in a much quoted comment, he said, living with AIDS is easier than living with racism. It's a harder struggle against racism for me than it is against AIDS. What it meant to me is that there's no way for the rest of us to understand that daily encounter. Which brings me to my question to you. Do you still have that encounter? Do you, Toni Morrison, Pulitzer Prize winner, successful, honored in the halls of academe, etc., still have that encounter?
Yes, I do, Charlie, but let me tell you, that's the wrong question.
Okay, what's the right question?
How do you feel? Not you, Charlie Rose,
Right.
but don't you understand that the people who do this thing, who practice racism,
Right.
are bereft? There is something distorted about the psyche. It's a huge waste, and it's a corruption and a distortion. It's a profound neurosis that nobody examines for what it is. It feels crazy. It is crazy. And it has just as much of a deleterious effect on white people, and possibly equal as it does Black people. I always knew that I had the moral high ground all my life. I always thought those people who said I couldn't come in the drugstore and I had to sit in these funny places, I couldn't go in the
You felt morally
park.
superior to them
I
from
did.
day one.
And I thought they knew that I knew that they were inferior to me morally. I always thought that. And my parents always thought that.
You said your father was racist because he always felt like he was
He always
superior.
felt, that's right. He always felt superior. And that was a form, you know, of defensive racism. But if the racist white person, I don't mean the person who is examining his consciousness and so on, doesn't understand that he or she is also a race. It's also constructed. It's also made. And it also has some kind of serviceability. But when you take it away, I take your race away. And there you are, all strung out. And all you got is your little self. And what is that? What are you without racism? Are you any good? Are you still strong? You still smart? You still like yourself? I mean, these are the questions. It's part of it is, yes, the victim, how terrible it has been for Black
But
people.
you don't like that.
I'm not a victim. I refuse to be one.
And the victim is the other person who is morally inferior and
That's
who
a
has
serious
to hold
question.
on to
Of course.
Racism
If you
to
have to
somehow
hold, that's
for
right.
his or her own self-esteem and definition.
If you can only be tall because somebody's on their knees, then you have a serious problem. And my feeling is white people have a very, very serious problem. And they should start thinking about what they can do about it. Take me out of it.
Then give white people some free advice.
They're all in my books.
And the advice is to come to grips
Of course.
with your own fears.
Absolutely.
Your own
Look at
fears.
it. Absolutely. Your own fears, your own history, and what you need. What do you need this for? You know, it's not, I said glibly a moment ago, well, it feels good. It must feel good, otherwise they'd give it up. It's wasteful.
Right.
It costs a lot. It's ugly. It hurts. What are you paying for that for?
Driven by fear.
That's right.
Yeah. Give me your take on Rodney King and Los Angeles and all of that experience.
The most remarkable thing to me about Rodney King and what happened afterwards was people kept saying, oh, this terrible explosion, oh, the riots, oh, this is awful and could have been avoided, or what is it about? What struck me most about the people who were burning down shops and stealing was how long they waited. The restraint, not the spontaneity, the restraint. You realize the moment to be anarchic was when we saw those tapes. When we first saw those tapes.
They waited for justice.
They waited. How long was that? 9 months, a year?
Yeah.
They waited for justice almost a year and didn't come. No one talks about the fact that no one ran out into the streets as I wanted to. I was sitting in there with my son. It was like a ballet. It was unbelievable. And I think everybody felt that way. And no one, they didn't do a thing. They waited. That's amazing. That's amazing to me.
But what do you say to those of the same color who were damaged by that final explosion of rage?
Oh, well, that breaks my heart. I'm heartbroken about the crime that's inward, that turns inward within the neighborhood. There's an element of self-destruction that is there for all sorts of reasons, some of which are the ones we mentioned in the Bluest Eye, which is just self-loathing. Some is just cul-de-sacs. Some is just a world in which you cannot even be a man. Excuse me, you can't be an adult without money. You know, when I grew up, you could be a grown-up and poor. I mean, you could, I don't know, build a house or go hunting.
You
or,
made a point somewhere where the choices are awful.
They're awful. So they have to have things in order to have respect. So they steal things.
To get things.
Right. Or, you know, because they don't have things. So that's heartbreaking. And I'm very happy about what seems to be recently going on, which is, you know, some real examination of what can be done. That's a part of the history of Black people. This is not a new thing, although some Black neocons suggest that it is, which is,
You mean Thomas Sowell and people like that?
yeah, as though, you know, self-help was something they invented last year. I mean, Black people have always had charitable organizations, always help one another. I mean, that was always part of it. And then there was a decade in which they were demanding rights at a larger, from the government. But the whole business of self-discipline and the responsibility of adults for children, there can't be that kind of gap anymore. That's what's important. And that, it seems to me, I'm very optimistic about, I don't know, Ben Chavis being out there in the prop, and then this truce. I mean, those are good signs because if it spreads like wildfire for those young people, particularly, who may be in a position now to instruct the older ones, I mean, the people not quite in my generation, probably in yours, about what, you know, what needs to be done. This is our work. This is our work.
Ben Chavis comes from a religious experience. He actually grew up about 10 miles from where I did. And he in Oxford, and I grew up in Henderson, and I now live near Oxford. Religion, has it served African Americans?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. There's a lot of ridicule about, certain elements of the Christian church.
Being an opiate or something.
That's right. But, it's always been a political organization for Black people.
The only protector in many cases, way back.
Protector, and it was a place we could get together.
Yeah. And it was, Jesse Jackson once said to me back in '88 or one year he was running, he said, the hardest thing for me, because the Black churches had served him so well in his campaign, it was a place.
Oh, yeah.
He said the hardest thing for him to crack was white churches. Now, I don't know what he meant, but he just said that was the hardest place for him to go. And if you looked at the politics of '92, President Clinton scored heavily because he had the rhythm, it seemed to me, don't you?
Oh, yeah. He was very comfortable
With scripture,
and very at home with scripture.
And gospel.
He's a Baptist, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what he is, but yeah, I think he's a
I
Baptist.
think he's a Baptist. Anyway, he does have that easy access.
Yeah. Are you a religious person?
Mm-hmm. You don't want to go any further than that, do you?
I want to talk a little bit about your private life, and I know you look at me like, no, I don't want to talk about my private life. Only this. Was it hard for you to, a lot has been made about teenage parents, and you step forward and say, well, wait a minute, there are a lot of grandmothers who had kids when they were 15, almost defending this, and a lot of people look at that, teenage parents who don't have, money or
That's
a husband. Well, how about
what?
Man? How about a man there?
Well, it'd be nice, but the country says you can't have a man.
All right, but you raised your two kids. Your husband was an architect, left, and you had to raise your own two sons, right?
It's terrible.
It was
very hard.
Yeah.
Awful.
So where did you call on to get it done?
My family, my brothers, my mother, my grandfather, my sisters. My little saying is, one person cannot raise a child. Neither can two. You need everybody.
Yeah.
You need everybody you know. And if I don't, that's right. Well, I'll cry I didn't live in that neighborhood anymore. I lived in New York. I was working as an editor. I was running up and back and forth to Yale teaching. And I had these children. So I had to send them home in the summer. My family had to come. I had to keep very close touch with those people. And even so, it was difficult, very difficult. They're guys, after all, and willful. But that you need everybody, and that's.
But it seems that there's a breakdown in that.
In what, the family stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The family,
yeah,
in white, black,
yeah.
In all cultures, it's happening, in Oriental cultures as well. A breakdown in family, and you can't have a conversation in America about family values because, and we're going to talk about this over the weeks in this broadcast, because of the notion that it's become politicized. If Dan Quayle raises it, then it's it gives it a negative spin or whatever happens because of Murphy Brown. You fail to have an engaging conversation about what you just talked about. You couldn't have made it without family. Yeah, because you wanted to write and you wanted to support and you needed to do things. You had your mother. Is your mother still alive?
Barely. She's still, but she's around.
Yeah. They live in the South, or she?
In Ohio.
In Ohio. She lives in a small town, same town?
Sure, Lorain, Ohio.
She's still there. She has an interesting first name. Was it Ram?
Rama. Rama.
Yeah.
Rama is a city. They picked her name out of the Bible like that. You used to open the Bible and do like this. She got her name that way. She didn't like it.
Who's had the most influence on you?
I think those two, my mother and my father, for different reasons.
Has it turned out to be the life that you wanted when you look at where you are? Any regrets? Any? Yes. Like what?
I'm not going to tell you, but there have been a lot of regrets. We were talking earlier about family and the difficulty of describing it because there's so many labels. I mean, the language has got to change, but we just get family values means something very, very specific now. And what we define as a family is what is different. I am telling you, I'm a woman with two sons.
Right.
I'm a family, but I need a larger family. I'm not sure that a family has to be the mom, the dad, the two kids, and the dog and the cat. There are other kinds of...
And the station wagon and the bigger...
That's right. There are other figurations. Yeah. And what I needed was a larger configuration of a family. Sometimes you call it an extended family. But it was quite accessible to me. I could use it. They expected me to use it. My mother's one question when I moved to New York was, but you don't have any people there. And that's what she meant. And so we found some.
Yeah. Are you optimistic?
Sometimes. Most of the time I'm not.
Most of the time you're pessimistic
Yeah.
about where we're all going as a society and why we've got so much.
Yeah, it doesn't look very good. I mean, it just doesn't look very good to me, right? Long and through here. People are silly and misled, and they don't hear, and no one is willing to tell them, and they're so greedy. And even when they're not, they're ridiculed for not being that way. I don't know, there's no, I feel an absence of a heart. Under the worst circumstances, I may have been naive about this, but this always seemed like a big-hearted country, just big-hearted. Now it seems small and narrow. I hope I'm wrong. Sometimes, maybe had this conversation 2 weeks from now.
You'll feel better. Some might argue that's because it's a troubling world out there, and while democracy, some would argue at the end of the Cold War, democracy has triumphed and our way of life has triumphed, so to speak. That all of a sudden they look around and they are it's opened up all these other kinds of conflicts.
The world's not simple. The consequences of becoming a democracy are out there. We emphasize that part, but we're also a major capitalist and capitalistically formed country. And it's true of all of Europe. I mean, the slaves have come home from the plantation. The wars, the Cold War, they keep talking about these years of peace. Peace? What peace? They've been fighting 30 years of wars elsewhere. All the blood was shed in the Third World. Our confrontation with Russia, our confrontation with communism, there was no nuclear explosion, there were no, there was enough, but they still fought. I'm not so sure that these problems are not, could have been foreseen. They're inevitable. You can't call those countries poor when they have all the tungsten in the world in 2 high schools. You can't call Latin America poor third world when they have all of the resources. I mean, the whole language is wrong. So yeah, we're going to have problems, real ones.
I thank you. It's great to meet you. It's good to have you here for this conversation. Jazz, which was a national bestseller. Toni Morrison won a Pulitzer Prize for Beloved. Paradise is the name of the new book. I thank you very much. It's really great to have you here. I hope we can do this again.
All right, Omaha, the Burbs, the Bluffs. That was an interview with Toni Morrison. We're playing different people, different historians. We got a guest in the house. We got a couple of brothers. They just pulled up on me. One brother, James Christo, all the way down from KC. I hang down in KC. I'll be pulling up on them. They have a jazz blues station down in Kansas City. And so he just pulled up him and his wife and family. And then, of course, you got my man, Robert Penn, business owner. We're just going to have a conversation. everything coordinated. What's your timetable, bro? You got to go to work. What you got? You say you work for him. You work for him. That's what I'm talking about. That's why we call him boss.
Consider this a lunch break,
Knowledge break, y'all. Without doubt. And so we're just going to have a candid conversation. Brother Crystal, he owns a radio station, operated radio station down in Kansas City, and we collaborate. He's an artist. Their genre that they play is jazz and blues.
Blues and the Black American music experience.
Yep. He's in the most historic area of Kansas City. What's that area again, big brother?
18th and Vine, historic 18th and Vine district.
Oh yeah,
known as the Jazz District.
Heavy jazz history.
Oh yeah.
You know, right here too.
Oh yeah.
Without doubt. So
I know the jazz history, man.
And it actually
in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You know, actually, Brother Penn, if you go down to his museum, Preston Love is there. Preston Love is on the wall.
Yeah.
Down there. So you know.
When I read that history, you had Kansas City, Omaha, and Chicago jazz players. All of them circled together, man.
Right.
And at one time, they were the best too.
Oh, they're still the best. The Chitlin Circuit, y'all.
Yeah.
Chitlin Circuit. You know what I mean? They had the Green Book. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're going to stay at certain places because of racism. And we still dealing with that, per se. We still dealing with racism.
I couldn't get an Airbnb like 2 months ago. I was like, maybe they don't like my profile or something. I don't know why I couldn't get. They just denied me.
So you're too black. You're too black.
Yeah, man. I guess
you can't get an Airbnb.
No, it was one time. I got one from. I'm just saying, people look at who you are, and
right?
Decide whether they want to let you be there.
It knows. They say nose too wide. It's no too wide.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to have him in here.
They still got wings and things in case.
Oh yeah. Oh man,
I was out there with my daddy when I was young on Paseo and all that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's when I was bad. My mama said, "You gotta go live with him."
Sent you to Kansas City.
Yeah, she sent me out there.
Okay. Well.
But it didn't reform me. I was just fitting in.
I was bad. That's why
we're gonna leave it there.
I was about to say.
Definitely adjusting to the new environment.
Yeah,
right.
Well, Omaha, the birds of blessed. Again, James Crystal. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, big brother?
Yeah, I go by many names, man. Jay Christos as an artist, but I'm just James McGee, Jay McGee. Black Vine Worldwide Media Group, based in Kansas City, Missouri. That's my multimedia company. So we've been producing music, concerts, films for years now. That's actually how me and Will met. Is coming up to Omaha, doing concerts, doing shows, man, and being on tour. I'm also the creative director of the Mutual Musicians Foundation, which is the oldest jazz house in the world.
Wow.
As well as the senior manager of visitor and virtual experience at the American Jazz Museum. So I'm Mr. 18th in line. You just call me that.
Okay, without doubt.
Yeah.
When it comes to music, you're the conduit.
Oh yeah.
You're the conduit.
I try to be at least one of them.
Mm-hmm. Without doubt. So, and then also Brother Penn. Brother Penn is not only an Omaha citizen, he is a entrepreneur. See, I can't even spell the word.
Yeah.
It's a lot of letters, a lot of syllables.
But you know what it means.
But I got a Webster.
Yeah.
Forget Google. I got a Webster.
Yeah.
Well, the word entrepreneur is a French word, and it means gangster.
Business is
Yeah.
gangsters. It is.
Yeah.
So, but let people know what kind of business you in, big brother.
Well, matter of fact, I'm thankful for the opportunity, brother. I am actually looking for a Class A CDL driver. Contact me at 402-739-2069. If you are serious and if you can drive, I'll put some good money in your pocket. I got reefer work over the road. I also got some tanker work as well. If you're serious, I've took chances with a couple brothers and they weren't serious, but I don't give up on all of us. So, again, call me at 402-739-2069 if you have a Class A CDL license.
Without doubt. And if you want to obtain one, if you need a career switch, where can they go, big brother?
There's several people. They can go to is that Workforce Development on
Up on
off
50th
on
and
Ames.
Mhm.
They have a program where they'll pay for it. Your CDL license.
Mhm.
So they should go up there and they should definitely take advantage of that opportunity.
Without a doubt. And so that's through the workforce development right up on 57th and Ames
And
in
then
the new complex.
Yeah,
right
and then
next
there's
to,
several schools. There's Metro has a program.
Mhm.
Metro is very affordable. They got good instructors. Custom Diesel, JTL. There's several good schools out here.
Okay. And then to get a CDL, what? It's a few weeks, right?
It could take you probably approximately about a month.
Okay.
And it's not for everybody, man. I mean, you're moving a big machine.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So it's beyond driving. It just takes some time as repetition. But there's a lot of good programs out there.
Now, the trucks you're talking about diesels, right? Or are you talking about all brands of trucks?
Well, I mean, the Class A CDL is going to be. I would need them for a semi.
Okay,
semi tractor trailer.
Okay.
So where you have a fifth wheel and you will hook up to other trailers.
Okay.
So big trucks.
Yeah, big trucks. I remember sitting in a semi, man. It's too high, man. I'm scared of heights. I could barely get in an SUV. You know what I mean? No heights, man.
Yeah.
But man, Omaha, this is an opportunity, and this is Black History Month. This is the reason why economic development is important.
Right.
Is because we can make decisions. We can hire our people or whomever we want to hire.
Right.
It's not a handout. No, it's a hand up. And so we got to reinforce and we have to support, entrepreneurs. You're running an organization. It's an entrepreneurial establishment.
Right.
You have artists coming in there molding their craft in order to manifest commerce.
Absolutely. Yeah.
From their God-given ability.
Yeah. Now more than ever, because if you don't know how to function in a way or a mind state that's not predetermined by a boss or a supervisor, as a musician, you are your boss, your supervisor, you are your product, and you have to know how to be able to manage that and put that out there to create a living for yourself and your family. I think a lot of people are seeing that right now, especially with with COVID going on. It's like, hey, ain't no guarantees. You better pick up the skill that you can manage and lend out to people, like being a truck driver. I went and got my I didn't get my CDL, but now I was only 4 weeks. I went and got a what is it, the other one?
Class B?
B. Oh no, L. Is it L or B? No, F.
Okay.
Where I can drive like service trucks and stuff like that, vans or whatever, in Missouri at least.
Okay.
But I was like, I just need to have that skill. I like to drive. So I might as well have something where I can diversify what I'm doing and not be beholden to one thing. That's what entrepreneurship is about.
Right. So actually, you basically just created another revenue stream.
Correct. Right.
So instead of just depending on one revenue stream based off of the environment or current condition, you create another revenue stream based off of the environment.
Right.
One of the elders, he said he had the first X here in Omaha. I used to sit down and talk to him. He said that we need to have 7 to 10 ways of creating a revenue stream. Just in case 2 are down, you still got 5 up.
Yeah.
And so and being Black men, and that's the reason why I call Brother Penn, because he's smart. I knew you was rolling up. I didn't just want to have a conversation just on the intelligence of the Black man and the misperception of what other people have of us.
Right.
We did a focus group with South Omaha, and it was strictly off perceptions. Hispanic people and white people perceive that Black people are dangerous. Black people's perception of them were white people are racist. Mexicans are carry knives.
Okay.
Or they you know what I mean? I mean, those kind of stereotypes that's in people's minds. And they also don't like Black people either.
Right.
And so these are the conversations that we had, and you got to have those conversations in order to create solutions.
Well, that's one thing I kind of, when I'm talking to some of my quote unquote ally friends, that's one thing they say, let's have a conversation about it. But what I say to that is, we can talk about it all day, but unless we understand the underlying reasoning for why these conversations need to take place, like Dr. Claudia Anderson would say, when you're predetermined to be a permanent underclass, which is the difference between Black Americans and every other minority group.
Right.
We are not immigrants. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're imports.
Right.
If you want to, because we were products.
Right.
So we were not brought here to be winners.
Right.
So if that's your automatic thing, you can't certain people you can't even have that conversation with, because until they can understand that, act on that, we got to have the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So that's interesting that those stereotypes are there, because even if you look at Latinx or Hispanic population, there's tiers. We got like a caste system in America that we really don't talk about. You know, Hispanic can look close enough to white, just like if a light-skinned Black person can pass. You know,
right.
But if you got skin like us sitting right here,
ain't no
pass. You know, so yeah.
Well, and not only that, man. Like we talking about entrepreneurship, the reason why most of our people have always been the best entrepreneurs, because we were always excluded anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? And actually, if you look at our history, most of the lynching was post-slavery, and they were lynching business owners and entrepreneurs, intelligent Black people that would go to a certain area. We can't come over here and eat. We can't buy shoes. You don't want us in our face. Okay, we're gonna go over here and create something over here. You know, and then you would see that they would be attacked.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the sister Ida B. Wells. Ida B. Wells said she started giving business owners and Black people who were starting towns rifles. Okay, rifles.
So she was giving people rifles.
Rifles.
See, a lot of people don't know about that, about Ida B. Wells.
No. And
carried a pistol in her purse.
Harriet Tubman carried a 45 for the slave that would give up.
Right.
Yeah.
She wasn't worried about the white man because she knew he was gonna kill her anyway.
Right.
Okay. But this nigga here, you weak, I'm gonna put you down because I gotta go free some more Black people.
Right.
So if you weak, we're gonna go ahead and put you down.
Right.
And so we need to get into the reality of what we are too.
Right.
Because some of that fear that other people have of Black men, I think is absolutely necessary.
Oh, it's warranted. Yeah.
Okay. And yes, I am your daddy.
Yeah.
We need to have that conversation. Too.
Anthropology.
We need to have that conversation too.
Right.
So I mean, the issue with conversation with them is how honest do we really want to be?
That's right.
Well, you know, I did reach out to Colleen Brennan, who was the white city council member that wrote the blog on the conversation of race, and you know, Black people got upset because she wrote down basically the truth, and I brought her in here. We talked to her, and people got upset at me because I didn't attack the white woman. And so I did reach out to her again because I want to have this candid conversation. First, we maybe have a town hall, and then we can bring in brothers like you, and we could bring in their white experts, and let's have a real panel conversation. And so, even though we're on two sides of the fence, through this conversation, we can maybe come on the other side with solutions for both sides.
Well, see, what you're talking about, brother, is you coming outside of you stepping off the liberal plantation. That's what you're doing. Okay. This is why I don't do Black Democrats. I don't do liberal plantation coon niggas. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Okay. They're killing us. It's self-mutilating what they do to us. Okay. And so we have Black Democrats, liberals. They're supposed to emotionally respond to race. Okay. That's their job. Just to emotionally respond to it and stay emotionally attracted to it. And then you engage in permissible activism. Okay. Like LeBron James. Now he can talk about Donald Trump being a racist all day. That's acceptable. But when he starts talking about China, shut up. Why you got to shut up? Why LeBron got to shut up when he started talking about China? Because he's going outside of that liberal plantation program. Okay. Where you just emotionally respond to race and the white liberals cash it in. And that's what's happening here, brother. Okay. Joe Biden is talking about removing the penises from 8-year-old children. Who in a right mind want him in the White House after he said that? How do you seriously?
But that's the thing about it, though. The game set match. You know, it's the game is set, and that's why what you said rings true earlier is that we have to think independently. You on a Democrat wave, they got a formula for you that works for them. You on a Republican wave, they got a formula for you that works for them. Where Republicans or conservatives, it may be, you know what? We believe in your ability. Everybody's saying everybody can pull themselves up by their bootstraps, but the game already set and fixed. So I can tell you that game. I'm a hustler too. You know. We talk about street. I can sell you your belief in yourself, but by the time you turn around and look, you say, "Man, this dude done sold me a lemon." But you can fix it. You can fix that lemon. You know what I'm saying? You can pull yourself by your. Ain't got no boots. Pull yourself by your bootstraps. It's a mental thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's why as Black people, we have to be independent. It goes back to that word you say, entrepreneur. Person that think for themselves, create their own way, create their own lane. And that is a dangerous thing. And that's why, William, what you're saying about those conversations, in my personal belief, at least in my lifetime, I don't know what's going to happen 50 years from now, 100 years from now, we will never be able to have a truly honest conversation, because what that would allow is the lessening of power from one group and giving it to another. What people do you know that are willing to give up power when they got the power?
Right.
You can't come into my household and say, you know what? I understand this is your house and you built it how you want it to suit your needs, but I think you should share some of that with me. You're not doing that in my house.
You're absolutely right, brother. And it reminds me of one of the 48 laws of power. You have to win through action, not argument.
That's not argument. That's right.
We won the moral argument.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's yeah.
So that's why I said we need actionable with deadlines.
Yeah.
Actionable.
We need enforcement.
Right.
Like we don't need politicians in empty suits. Okay.
Right.
We don't need that no more. Okay. What we need freedom fighters. We need to send that game dog to the dog fight. We keep sending in these little poodles, man.
Right.
Coming in there talking about diversity.
Inclusion.
Yeah. And then I want all the Black people. You're going to water carry for the immigrants who are not citizens. You're going to water carry for racist white women who are neurotic, drinking wine and high all the time and bored. You're going to water carry for the LGBT community too. You're going to water carry for everybody else, and then you're going to get at the end of the line every single time.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what we're doing, bro. So we don't need no more. I'm gonna do this for this group, and I'm gonna do this. Take your Black ass in there and get everything for our interest.
Yeah. We know that's. I mean,
ain't that how the game is played? That's why I don't do politicians right now, brother. I can't do them.
Right.
But that's part of our
I can't
problem.
do them.
We like to think that we as a people like to think that the rules are going to be made. An exception is going to be made because of our plight that we've experienced. That's not how the game works.
Right.
And that's what it is, So it goes back to my point. Why would I put you in a position to beat me at a game that I designed?
Right.
That don't make no sense. That's why I don't even get mad at folks no more.
Right.
I don't even get mad at white folks, whoever. I ain't mad at you. I know what I got to do.
Yeah. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, the thing that motivates me, brother, is if you have an opponent, the objective is to defeat and win. I'm not going to play this little head game. I want you to be equal to me.
Let me tell you this example, gentlemen. I'm going to give you a God view. When I embarked on building the wireless network in Macy, I got pushback from the incumbent there.
Okay.
There's only one competitor there. And when I put my application to get funding through the state, I got pushback. And so what I did was I called people that look like them. And I had them put the pressure on them.
Yeah.
Based off of my reputation.
Right.
And based off of the mic I got.
Right.
Because I let them know I'm a million man marcher. I'm totally different.
Yeah.
And so they called their friends. Their friends got mad. But the brother that's the head of the Economic Development Office, Tony Goins, who was hired by Governor Ricketts, they gave me the green light.
Yeah.
They gave me $250,000. I got the most out of everybody.
Yeah.
Well, brother.
Yeah.
So now the incumbent try to stop the money. We don't want that. We don't want you from North Omaha too. No, we can't have no. So I'm calling black people. I'm calling white people. I'm calling Native American people. And so what I did was I got the data. I went to data. God higher science is math, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I got math. I went to get speed tests. I went to God. You know what I mean? Prove my point. I got the funding. Now I'm trying to see who I'm gonna get the fiber from. The people that got the roadblock, they got all the fiber.
Yeah. Wow.
Now they sell to other people who want to sell to me at a higher rate.
Yeah.
So I had to go back to the steam. We had to go talk to God. See, God, what mathematics do I need, God? What mathematics? What mathematics? And then I called my builder, a brother who has a relationship with the man. So I had the brother call the man. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to use other people. You got to use conduits in order to get influence.
Right.
So he got them to sell me my competitor, the one that tried to stop me. Now they're selling me internet at a cheaper rate than the ones that's going to sell to me at a wholesale rate.
Right.
So we God's, brother. We always gonna find a way to get around whatever obstacle that they persist. And so of course they don't want to give up power. Of course.
But we
work for a different God.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So we always gonna find a way, brother.
Yeah. And a lion wants a lion's share. See, we have to be lions, brother, and accept that and make no apologies for it. And the lions come together and get a lot of stuff done too. You can see that in our history. Like we was talking about the incident, what they call a race massacre in 1871 in Arkansas.
Okay.
Where they kept disenfranchising the black leadership there and kept giving them either someone white or someone black who was going to operate in their interests. Well, brother, it got to a point where they had murdered one of the brothers that was an attorney. This happened in Arkansas. Y'all need to check this out. 1871. And the blacks there got together, armed themselves, took them white men out of the jail that killed that brother, and they handled their business. And then they placed themselves back in political positions that they rightfully voted themselves into.
Yeah.
And historically, it's interesting. It's in the context of a massacre. When we retaliate justifiably, get angry justifiably, it's still a massacre.
Yeah.
They ran out some of the racist white people in that county in Arkansas too. But it was a massacre, brother. It's a race massacre.
Yeah, that's but that's what they say, man.
Check this out. I'm gonna read a paragraph from that experience. Many white residents fled, escaping by steamboat to Memphis, Tennessee. Other nearby river towns like Black Hawk War that occurred in Mississippi County the following year. The situation arose in part from the radical wing of the Republican Party. And so black people were Republicans back then.
Well, we pretty much started the Republican Party to go against the Democratic pro-slavery party.
Okay.
That's how the Republican Party actually started. That's why you see in the historical context, like that brother there and all of them in Arkansas and those areas, they were Republicans. Even Dr. King and them, they were Republicans.
Yeah, they were Republicans. We didn't switch to Democrats until I call my big cousin and Kennedy got together and transitioned after all the civil rights bills.
Well, they got Dr. King out of jail. So when they got Dr. King out of jail and then took King and made him the poster child. Okay. Then we switched from Republican to Democrat.
Right.
But ain't that a cold game though? If people look at their history, isn't that all that has happened over history is to keep them off balance? We just gonna switch sides. It's like Crips and Bloods getting together. You know what? Okay, you a rolling 60s Crip and you a Pyru. Well, all of a sudden we're gonna switch. We're gonna wear your colors, you wear our colors.
Right.
So we're gonna keep the power in between us. We're gonna keep the fear in the community between us, but we're gonna switch roles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
I deal with it now. I'm a Democrat. I'm a registered Democrat. However, everything that I've obtained is from Republicans.
Oh yeah.
The love, I get way more love from Republicans, and then so now I got a callous like them. I remind them because I'm part of the Democratic hierarchy. They probably don't like it. I don't even know how I even got it. Somebody voted me in, but since it's part of the hierarchy, I remind them. Well, I mean, y'all the original slave party.
Yeah.
This is how I talk to them because I got to remind them, man. Don't come to it. If I'm here, ain't no bull crap coming around here.
The Democratic Party is the birth of the KKK. Okay. For example, Joe Biden, who did he run with as a senator when he was creating all this racist legislation? Okay. Senator Robert Byrd, Grand Wizard, KKK senator, and all those racist Southern senators from the South. Joe Biden would get with them and create legislation, okay, to economically and politically castrate Black people. Okay, Joe Biden is he's a traditional Dixiecrat racist cracker. Okay, Joe Biden, when he was doing the segregation in school, Joe Biden said, "I don't want my son going to a jungle school. I don't want my son in school with you niggas." Okay, Joe Biden. Joe Biden, when he created the massive crime bill, he also put in that crime bill construction loans. So they could privatize the industry and put it on the stock market and create jobs for rural white America. The white people that ain't too smart, that ain't never done nothing. Okay. They can get a job babysitting some nigga whose life Joe Biden destroyed. Okay. Kamala Harris too. And so when we have a 5-minute memory, and you go through this process of jumping back in bed with your enemy over and over and over again. Now you're dealing with conquered people who are mentally dead, brother, and they need to be removed.
Right.
And so when I hear older people in this community tell young people to go and take a vaccine, and you can't even explain the word indemnification to them legally, you're mentally dead. We need to step over your old ass. Okay. I still love you and I still respect you and I'll protect you too. Things go to an extreme. Okay. But I don't want you in front of me as a leader. And we have to, and right now, man, we're at a point, we're at a very dangerous point right now in the whole country. If you lack the ability to have discernment, and you can't make a distinction between social justice and social engineering, we don't need you in front of us as anything. I mean, what they ramped up right now, brother, if you're not aware of the Bolshevik Revolution, you don't know what globalization means, you don't understand that big pharma are psychopaths who can kill us and make a profit, and they're granted indemnification. What that means, indemnification, legally, and we need to have this conversation with people. We need to get out of the conversation of whether vaccines are healthy or not. Okay, we can have that conversation, but the conversation that we need to be having with our people is the word indemnification and what that means. What that means is if Pfizer or any one of them kill you or harm you after you take that vaccine, they're not paying for your funeral. Okay. There will be no compensation for it.
Take at your own risk.
Okay.
That's
for everybody.
Yeah.
So who in their right mind would tell somebody else to do something
that's black,
and you
white,
could be killed?
That's everybody. So
and nothing can be done about it.
But the legislators are passing this. Congress are passing these laws.
Well, that's another issue, brother. why we're in very serious dangers. We don't have leaderships in Congress. We have psychopaths who are selling us out to billionaires.
But that's part of recognizing truly, again, back to an honest conversation. That's part of recognizing as an entrepreneur. Something I picked up is, you know, we live in a democracy in the sense that you're supposed to have the legal right to make decisions on who represents you. That's the premise of that. But we live in a capitalist society. That's the society we live in. So it's supposed to function like that. The politicians are supposed to work for the billionaires. They're supposed, and we think, well, they're supposed to work for the people. Well, who do the people work for? The people work for the billionaires too. If you got a regular job, I go work for Walmart. We all work for the billionaires. You know what I'm saying? So to put a politician in that place and think he ain't going or she ain't going to work for the billionaire, you delusional. Comes back to the self-sufficiency, do for self, the entrepreneurship. All that stuff is going on around you. And like you said, where you're dead at is if you think that you can depend on them to make the right decision for you, that's in your best interest. That's not how this is set up. None of the people that came here on the Mayflower, the Santa Maria, whatever you want to call it, pilgrims to Columbus or whatever you want to call it, came here to say, let's create a free and equally balanced society. They came here for gold, riches, wealth, escape tyranny from somebody else telling me what to do. I want to be my own king.
Right.
I want people under me. That's the whole premise of where we at.
Right.
So if we function outside of that, we're gonna keep bumping our heads, being force fed things.
What's the solution?
Like what he's jazz. I mean, that's one of our art forms that we created.
Right.
You have to be a custodian of over that. It's yours. It's ours.
So it's ownership.
Yeah.
Ownership. Yeah.
How can we get, so we talking about ownership, how can we get I was listening to I think a brother Ben Muhammad, he's talking about Kentucky Fried Chicken, how Colonel Sanders stole the recipe from the sister.
Yeah.
How can we legally, how can we rightfully get Maytag owe us money? I mean, every shoe company owe us money because we developed the shoe show. Every I mean, we should be getting residuals off of almost every invention.
Oh yeah.
That our brothers and sisters created, but it was taken from them, and the white massa put their name on it, and they took credit for the invention. We need to really figure out how we can go back and get that wealth, and then tax these corporations for all these years for our intelligent wealth that was stolen from us.
Well, brother, I mean, how are we going to see? Here's the thing, man.
Because I mean, they don't want to give us reparation,
right? Well, here's the thing, man. Here's the problem, and I'm not trying to be sexist or anything like that. We don't need a league of mammies leading us from the Democratic quarters. And we have this problem across the country. It's either the League of Mammies or some soft-toed brother that knows how to espouse the right talking points.
I'm using that, man. Soft toe. You kick me, they go hurt soft toe.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
For example, we had with the 75 North project here, maybe 2 phases, close to $250 million. Where is the masculine lion black male that's going to say $250,000? What do I get? What do we get down here?
Right.
See, that's masculinity. Okay. But if we put soft-toe beta males who are really females, they function as females. Okay. Let's be real. Okay. And we have to understand why there's this big push. Black woman. Well, the liberation of black woman don't liberate all of us.
Right.
Liberation of just one black man doesn't liberate all of us either.
Right.
So we need to understand that our opponent wants our woman to be our leader because she's the least threatening
in their mind, how they see it.
Well, I mean, how far is a woman going to go?
Yeah.
I mean, you and I we can get to a point where, okay, you want to take this to a physical level, let's do that.
Right. Women
are not physiologically designed for that.
Right.
And they're not psychologically equipped for war. It's not in them. Okay. And this is why the slave master has always used this process of, even on the plantation, the leaders on the plantation was the big mama in the house. Wasn't the big, strong black male. Okay. So we need to understand that our enemies are using that as a tactic. Okay. And I'm sorry, sisters, if you have not read Karl Marx manifesto, okay, and we're gonna allow androgynous freaks of the Black Lives Matter movement, women who hate heterosexual black people, they said it from their mouths.
Oh, it's on their website.
We want to disrupt and dismantle the whole heterosexual natural black family.
It's on their website. So.
And then white liberals are taking these people and put them in front of us. That's your leader. So we're not going to get anywhere with that process.
Right.
Okay. And so what I'm saying is we need masculine, unapologetic, lion-minded black men who have a moral conscience, who will die and defend and protect and provide for black women and children. We have to get together and we have to do stuff and make no apologies about it.
Right.
And if we die on it, guess what? Our children will live on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we at, bro.
Yeah, without a doubt.
That's definitely that's a cost.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's always a cost.
It's a cost, and we're in a very even as black people compared to other countries, and I hesitate to say third world because what I may consider luxury, somebody else may not consider that. You know, a beach and palm trees may be all they need. You know what I'm saying? So I can't even consider that third world. But we're in a society and a country where comfort and mediocrity is kind of like, as long as you ain't, you know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of sacrifice to be that alpha male like he expressed, or even an alpha woman where you a black woman and you standing on, like my wife and I are dichotomy. I'm gonna stand behind him. He stand next to me on this. And they don't want that communication to be there. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes both of us to make a black child. So we can't even make no more unless both of us are in some kind of concert right here. But that takes an extreme amount of balls, basically, in this day and age, you know.
Well, and everybody's not made for it. It's only a particular mindset that can even handle that pressure.
I mean, like what you just mentioned, brother. Look at Monique and her husband. Look how Hollywood reacted towards them. You have her husband, who is a manager, making sure on the business aspect that his wife is protected, and on a moral aspect, you ain't gonna disrespect her either because she's a black woman and this is my wife.
Right.
When I look at those two, you can see the power that you naturally have when you side up with your queen, brother, and she got your back and you got her back. You can't lose.
Right. Win-win.
Yeah.
You can't lose.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even look at Monique and her husband. Look at the reaction that they get and the reaction that they're getting from black people, from white people, and that whole, genre that they're in. Man, you need to be quiet and humble. You using your brain, you have morality, you have dignity, you got respect, and then y'all paired together like that. That's dangerous.
Well, we need more danger, like you said. They keep the black man out of the home for a reason, right? I mean, they did it through the welfare system, and they continue to do it through the mass incarceration. It's going to be up to us, like you said. We're going to have those alpha males to step forward, and the betas. Y'all can applaud for a little bit. I mean, but betas got to be alpha one day, right? You know what I mean? I mean, you'll be alpha one day, but it's time for alpha men. I had a chance to speak to the ministers, and I told them, I said, it's time for a black man to lead. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. And if y'all scared of a black man, don't get scared. We tall, dark, and handsome over here. Don't get scared of us. We tall, dark, and handsome over here. But at the same time, we warriors also when it's time to war. And when I die, I remind people of the project specifically for a reason. To let you know that oh yeah, even though we come from the bottom, we all the way to the top right now.
Oh yeah.
And regardless of where you at, we had integrity even when we fought. We draw a circle. We had respect even in our fight game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because we had respect for our brother. We draw a circle.
Yeah.
And who first one get knocked out of this circle,
that's it. Yeah.
It's over with.
Yeah.
And we had respect for that brother the next day. Either he's my homeboy or if we want my homeboy, I at least say what's up. I respect him.
Yeah.
And we kept it pushing. We got cowards these days. They hide behind bushes or they drive or they want to be like white gangsters and call themselves Scarface and drive around and shoot.
Yeah.
You know, that's what they did. We didn't do that. But we're mimicking that.
That's right.
And so I'm really disappointed, even our own brothers that's mimicking what our slave masters did to themselves, and we're doing it to the same thing. And so we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely.
I was listening to Maya Angelou. She said it was a big party. He had a big party in her house, and she said that she heard somebody, say a joke and use the N-word. She stopped the party. He said, who you with? He said, where your coat at? He said, well, get your coat and get out of here. Because he said, don't try to smooth out that word with me.
Yeah.
When our ancestors died for these multiple ways. Don't say the N-word and put glory to something that's what she said, put acid in anything. It's still acid.
Yeah.
So you said, don't come to me with that mess. So sometimes we pollute our own situation. As Black men, isn't that our responsibility to help the unpolluting of our women minds and our children minds?
But that's part of the thing is, how do you, even just going into a mental, emotional, and spiritual level, how do you acknowledge and then begin to treat a people that's sick or toxic?
We are,
and it's hard to say that. That's like a lot of drug addicts. They can't get over the problem because they don't want to admit. Like, if anybody ever dealt with somebody got a drug problem, they'll fix when they're ready to come out of it. That's when they'll do it. You can't force them to do it. So when you got a group of people who have been instilled with toxins and they're sick, but they're trying to fix all the problems on the surface without dealing with the internal issue, the sickness. Even with that, we can have entrepreneurship, we can have economic empowerment, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. So then you got a bunch of rich Black people that's sick still. You know what I'm saying? Emulating.
I call them new masses.
Yeah, exactly.
I call them new masses.
You got that. So that's a whole. And as everybody knows, we as people of the sun, people of God, we are spiritual people first. When that ain't right, nothing else. It affects our finances, our the way we eat, our health, the way we view ourselves as far as fitness. That mental and emotional, spiritual, that's where they got us. That's where they got us. A lot of the neighborhoods that you look at around the country that are considered urban core or the less desirable part of the neighborhood, outside of some places like Greenwood and stuff like that, most of those places wasn't bombed with physical bombs or weapons.
Right.
They was bombed with mental things. We pull our finances out of there. We're just gonna beat you down till you feel like you're worthless. Once we got your spirit, now you can come back and work for us. Now you can come out to because we done got you in place. So that's a whole thing that we have to be able to acknowledge. And until we do that, it's going to be a hard mountain to climb because we carrying this load on us. We wondering why it's so heavy because we haven't stopped to address. We got some extra stuff on here that ain't necessary on this climb. We need to offload that.
Right.
That emulation, those things we trying to do to kind of cater towards what the dominant society has put place on us as important. Things like that. So that's a tough bird to carry. We carrying like Dr. Clyde Anderson, man. He always be saying some real slick stuff. He'll say, white folks live off of 100% of their income and 99% of ours. Like you said, we don't want to. How do you? That's it. Mathematically, right? You cannot win. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You got to get 100% of your income and 100%. Then y'all can come to the table and say we can make another 25% if we link up.
Right.
But if I come to the table when you got 199% and I got 1%, I have no negotiating power. Again, that leads to me being mentally, emotionally, spiritually crippled because as a man or a woman, I feel less than. I feel like I can't even walk into this room and sit with these people because we all know that they function off of 199% everything. What leverage do I have?
Right.
You know,
Mhm.
power concedes to power.
Well, I think that what has to happen is we have to have quiet strategy rooms and bring in the people who want to win. Bring in the people who are not going to cringe at the sight of blood. Bring in the people who understand what we're dealing with and what we have to gain. We continue to play into this game where we're trying to be equal to them. And they give you this equal bar. And then you keep reaching for that equal bar. Okay. And what that does is the next generations, they got to fight uphill. So now I got to figure out who my enemy is, then take my mind back, then keep my mind, and then try and fight them. You see what we're doing to our each generation? Okay. And then each generation got to fight uphill. Okay. We got older people running around here telling us, even the brother over here at the health center, Charles Drew. Charles Drew would have never told us to take no vaccine, brother, and not explain to us scientifically what is in it. Okay. What is hepatitis B is a sexually transmitted disease. Why would I inject that into my bloodstream? Why would we put that in anyone's bloodstream? Okay. Okay. So you're not representing Charles Drew over there. And I seen a brother on TV and it's sad. Okay. Did that brother over there, did he explain to our people that if you die, there's nothing legally you can be done about it? He didn't tell them that. He just tell them, take the shot. Why? Master said so. Take the shot. He didn't say, brother, you take this shot, you know, legally nothing you can do about it, man. They can kill your ass. They ain't paying for the flowers at your funeral. And brother, these pharmaceutical companies have already killed people all over the world with vaccines.
And we all know the more people you kill, the more legal it is.
Well,
if I kill one person, that's a murder. If I kill 100,000 people at one time dropping a bomb, that's warfare. You know what I'm saying? So biological warfare. So is like what you're saying, brother. Those not getting that information is definitely not a
and that makes him deadly to us because you're not a leader, you're a misleader. See, a leader is not going to put you in harm's way. Okay. They're going to totally inform you and make you aware. If I can't protect you from the monster, I'm going to tell you who the monster is. At least do that. We got to at least do that with our children. I can't protect you, but I can at least tell you this is your enemy over here. And start thinking about how you going to beat him. You see what I'm saying? At least do that. Instead of telling people, take the shot. This ain't Tuskegee. We need to forget
the fact that you got to bring it up and mention it means it's you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to forget.
These are elders.
Yeah.
Okay, this is grandma and grandpa telling you, forget Tuskegee. Forget it. 40 years, brother. The Tuskegee is 40 years of poisoning us and then pulling out a pen and pad and writing down and documenting the rate in which we died, the rate in which the poison spread.
How they went insane through insane asylums. And I mean, I see the picture. They shoot them with a smile on their face.
And then brother and then orchestrated it with Black professionals. Use a Black woman
Well,
who has a medical degree.
Well, that's the thing about it. They never are able to get in without assistance. See what I'm saying? And that's what it goes back to your point, brother, about having that quiet room of that group of people saying, hey, no co-intel, no pain of death. You know, you can bring it in here if you want to. You automatically agreeing to, you know, to end yourself. So that But it's like when you're talking about the elders, and this one thing, I mean, I respect my elders. This one thing that I almost even got caught up in growing up. I know in Omaha, probably just like Kansas City, you all are experiencing re-entry into certain neighborhoods, which they call gentrification. I call it a re-entry program,
Right.
where they go for the last 50 years. They say, hey, the bar is out here. It's out in, you know what I'm saying, the suburb over here. This, if you made it, this is where your house is. Then all of a sudden, 2000, 2010, 2020, now all of a sudden, no, these houses where it's at. North, you know what I'm saying, whatever your hood is, North Omaha, this is where it's at.
Yeah.
And then you out here in the suburb, you can't even afford to get back in there. They done turned a $50,000 house into a $2 million house.
Right,
you know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
But that's the whole trick. Like you say, keep moving the bar, keep them off balance. And it goes back again to self-empowerment, entrepreneurial mind state. Okay, let me not just follow the trend. Let me not just take what they telling me and take it for face value. Let me do my research. Even if you are going to take the vaccine, no problem with it. Go do your research. Go read about it.
Right.
Don't just go show up and get it.
Right.
Like I told my wife, I said, well, you know, I'm 44, we got kids, I'm in good health. If it came down to where it was a situation where I had to, I'm gonna set my legacy. I'm willing to, in my mind, take and say, okay, if I have to, and it ends up ending me, okay, I done already set mine. But my kids, no, not doing that.
Right.
You 12 years old, you got a life to live. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out, do the research and understand, instead of them telling us, hey, you know, Americans are fat. Y'all out of shape.
Right.
What they say is, if you got pre-existing conditions, you're more likely to die of anything if you got a pre-existing condition. You know what I'm saying? You could die walking down a damn street. You know, if you got too much weight on you, your heart ain't healthy.
Right.
So of course, so instead of saying that, again, the quick fix, and like you said, moving that bar and that illusion, don't adjust your diet or your eating habits. Don't adjust your physical habits. Just take a shot.
Right.
Take a shot. It's too hard to do it the other way.
Right.
And a lot of our issues, as far as suffering and being manipulated by them, 50% of it can be avoided just by us saying no.
Right. And it's interesting. I was watching.
I mean, not physically doing anything.
Right.
Not hitting them in the mouth when they deserve it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just saying no.
Yeah.
That's one thing. You know what? That's funny that you hit that on the head, because I was raised I'm from California, so I was raised half my life out there. My was a Jewish woman, raised traditional Jewish, you know, basically white to me, you know, Jewish woman. And so I was studying how her family dynamic was. You know, I don't know if you ever seen it, and you know, I've never seen, in my own opinion, I've never seen someone who identified as a Jewish person, like European. I'm talking about Ashkenazi. I'm not talking, you know, I've never seen them destitute, really, or poor in a massive quantity. We're like, okay, you know, I've seen poor Italians, poor Mexican, you know, you live in, I never seen that past the turn of the century. So I asked her, I said, you know, you guys seem to have a prosperous community. Now, I'm probably about 10 years old asking this. And I said, well, how do you do that? You know, how do you guys avoid some of these things? I know you get pressures from society as far as stuff like that, but why do so many people hate your stuff? And her answer was real simple. She was like, we just say no. We don't tolerate. Period. I ain't gonna argue with you. I'm just gonna say no. And if I gotta go without, I go without. My family will come together, we'll provide. We're not gonna depend on you, because we know what that leads to. Every time you depend on somebody, they control to the point of extermination. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
So that was interesting that you said that. No, and for a lot of us, no is a hard word, because we want to assimilate. We want to be accepted. We want to fit in. So if you say no, that means you ain't fit in. But like, I don't know how many times Jay-Z probably said somebody at this point.
And it's kind of,
You know
I'm gonna jump on that also. Maya Angelou said when you tell that person no, or you receive a no, it could be a blessing that can save you from whatever.
Yeah.
Or that no can save you for that yes that you really need.
Yeah.
And so no, like you said, it's necessary. Sometimes we don't say no, we compromise and we yield and we adapt and adjust.
I mean, look what happened here, brother, where you have the social engineering agenda of Susie Buffett coming in our community and wanting all our children. We should have said no. And at the same time, you're putting Black women who have daycares out of business.
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing that intentionally. And not only are you economically putting Black women out of daycare business, you're social engineering the children for biological dysfunctionality. Okay?
The city just passed a bill on, I forget what city it was, it's the city of Colorado, where they won't allow the mutilation of kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't even believe that they are even discussing this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what the scriptures say, brother. Okay. When the word is fulfilled against them, the unjust, we will produce from the earth a beast, and the beast will speak to them because they do not believe in the signs and the warnings of God. And so and you're going to keep going through this part. I can't believe this. I can't believe that. Are you crazy?
Right.
That is the beast talking. Joe Biden. Yeah, well, we'll take an 8-year-old and remove his penis without parents' consent if he wants it done.
Yeah, cities are
What?
passing laws against that.
Yeah, you see what they did in DC? The city council in DC passed legislation where an 11-year-old can have power of attorney over themselves and ignore their parents and go get a vaccine without their parents knowing. If you will do that to our child without us knowing, would you take them and have sex with them too without us knowing? Where's the boundary? Where are you getting that you need to negate parental rights? Anyone that wants to negate parental rights is an enemy to everyone's family. What you mean? I'm going to take your child and do what I want to do with your child without your knowledge, permission, or moral understanding. That's the beast talking, brother. Okay. We have people around the world starving, and you're talking about removing penises of children? 8-year-old children butchering their bodies with Frankenstein surgery, bro. This is the beast talking. Okay. And I'm telling you, I'm an alpha male, brother. My youngest seed, I will kill one of them motherfuckers. You come for my child like that. Okay. And I'm just speaking as an alpha male and a God-fearing man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyone that wants to remove penises from little children, okay, is a psychopath. We don't need them in positions of leadership. Brother, we need to skull drag them to a cage and watch them 24 hours a day.
Well, you know what's even more subtle about that conversation that the beast is having? That's the apparent part of it. What the heck? This don't make sense. The subtle part is, say you're sitting over there and you're stating your opinion, and I'm sitting over here and I say, well, you're just wrong. You're a hater. You're homophobic. You're this, that, and the third. That's the subtlety right there. That he can't even have that opinion,
right?
Even though it's biologically, naturally, universally, basically proven through millennia that this is how when a person's born with this, that's what that. But for me to say that, for him to say that, and me say, "Oh, you're just wrong," and then I got 1,000 other people behind me saying, "Yeah, he's wrong. He's a hater. He's a bigot. He's a racist. He's homophobe. Whatever, all that type of stuff." That's where that's the subtlety of it right there. The devil said, all I need to do is get 1 or 2 of y'all. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't need everybody. I just need just enough. And that's all it takes, So and that's what we don't look for. And I think that's part of the problem. My wife and I was discussing this. You can't even have that opinion in mainstream America.
Well,
you can have it, but they'll roast you. They'll have you having hate mail sent to your house. The same people that's saying that you're intolerant will have people at your house sending bomb threats. Might get shot.
Well, and that's what globalism, Marxism is. Okay, they're bringing globalism on us through the vehicle of Marxism. Okay, and Marxism, okay, you don't get to think. Okay, Karl Marx said we need willful idiots in order to establish it. Okay, willful idiots. I mean, read his manifesto. That's all. If you read that, you're gonna know the entire playbook. Okay, and so you cannot think. There's no thinking. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what to think. not how. And so I need people that are emotional automatons. That way I can make something sound fair. At the same time, I can make evil fair seeming by making it sound like a one size fit all thing. There's no one size that fits all, brother. Okay. You know, and look what they're doing now with these MMA fighters and these different men. I'm a woman now, and then competing with women and beating their brains out.
Yeah.
Are they doing that?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
How can they allow some stuff like that? Because I've been sitting in track. I mean, how can you allow a former man, to change to a woman and compete against women? They still get the physical strength of a man. This is logical.
They had a guy, like you mentioned, track. They had a guy. He was ranked like 500 something. He decides that he's a woman in his head. Then he's competing with women, and then he beats them. And he wins. And this is social justice. Then they got this guy. He done crushed 2 women's skull in MMA fighting. But he can't. But
are you sure that they allow him to fight a woman?
Bruh, let me show you.
Are you serious?
I'm gonna show you.
And I want to go on a record here.
Man, what the hell?
We sit here having this candid conversation. And I have conversations like ain't no cameras or microphones on, nothing like that. But I'm a God-fearing man. I love all people. I don't, anybody who's different from me or whatever. I mean, we could sit down, have a drink, whatever. So my opinion is my opinion, but I don't subscribe to what I consider BS. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just because I don't agree with you, don't mean I hate you though. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
I just
right.
mean like I can't sign on with that.
Right.
It's like you want me to co-sign on a loan, not for that one. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
I'm not co-signing for the Ferrari. Now, if you need a car to get back and forth to work, maybe we could do that because I know you're about to go earn some money and you can pay your loan. But so yeah, I just personally want to put that out there that people are entitled. But when you get around, I didn't believe it, man. When I seen it, I said, okay.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, brother too. Oh, he's
and
terrible.
crushed and then crushed her and cracked her skull.
Whooped her. I mean, they were because they were.
I can't believe it.
This is a man.
And she a white woman.
Is that the article where they were talking about some kind of legal action or something?
And then look at this guy here. He decided that he's a woman.
Oh, it's crazy, man.
Okay.
Hey, they better come around here with that stuff around me because I mean, for real, because I ran track. I mean,
I know,
and I played basketball, and of course I played against Martise Ivy.
Yeah,
but she a woman, and she stayed. She a woman.
Yeah.
Check this out. This is Craig. He was ranked in 2016 and ranked 390th in 2017. He changed his name to CC in 2018 and said he's a woman now. He won the championship, finishing first in women's hurdles in 2019.
Terrible.
That's social justice?
I don't know what the heck is going on, man.
That's social engineering, brother.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why I'm talking about we're in a dangerous time. We don't need politicians that's going to be an empty suit. Okay. Because we're going to have a conversion and an explosion anyway. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to talk to my child about any kind of sex, heterosexual sex, anal sex, whatever way you want it or like it. And not only that, we're going to have a civil war here anyway, based upon morality. Okay. Not only that, I'm not going to pay you for it. I don't want 60% of my property tax dollars goes to the public school system. Okay. I don't want to work, brother, and I own my house and pay into a system that teaches children to be mindless perverts.
Yeah, I don't like the sexual teaching that they teach in OPS. I talked to several of the school board members. I invited the superintendent who's black. I questioned because they don't have black history. They put sexual teaching before they put black history. And to me, I'm upset about. I don't want sex. Y'all leave that stuff at home,
right?
But Black history need to be taught every day, so we're not. People aren't ignorant to our contributions.
Well, and since they, LGBTQ history or whatever. Okay.
I don't even know.
Well, you want to talk about Sodom and Gomorrah? You want to talk about the Romans, the Roman Empire caving in, the neurotic people who were the leaders, who were pedophiles and homosexuals and psychopaths? How far you want to talk about this? Not only that, I mean, buck breaking. We had buck breaking was a process of homosexual white men raping black men in front of everybody. That was buck breaking.
Oh, you talking about as far as slavery?
Yeah,
there's slavery.
Buck breaking.
Yeah, because they had red rooms and blue rooms. I mean, so man, I heard this brother talked about the ways they killed our black people, and it just hurt me so much because he wouldn't stop. They killed us this way, they killed us that way, they killed us. Everybody think this thing about lynching.
Yeah,
man, they killed us all kinds of ways. They chopped out tongues. They chopped off kids' foot.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
But you know what? The inverse
all
of
that
that
documentation has been suppressed. It's not being taught. I had to research this myself or listen to other scholars to say, "Damn, they cut out women. They put us in hooks. I mean, they did a lot of stuff to us, and we today take for granted of all the sacrifices of our ancestors."
He said short memory, short memory. You know, and a lot of that is, and I hate to, you know, I'll never use victimization because even though we were, I tried to have that mind state. You know, it's trauma. So of course, it's like Stockholm syndrome. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
we actually have a undiagnosed long problem with Stockholm.
Right.
It ain't even been diagnosed with us.
You didn't have me so long. I'm just gonna go on ahead and do it your way. You know,
We
normal
ain't even been diagnosed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, you know, some people call it post-traumatic slave disorder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? because we're dealing with the residuals of our master's treatment of our ancestors. And so I think it's cellular now. It's in our cellular infrastructure of the 400 years of torture and fear that's been manifested on our people. And when the alpha male stands up, they call it Judas and the Black Messiah per se.
Yeah.
When a Black Messiah stand up, then
you going against the norm.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a bad thing. Yeah. That's unacceptable.
Right.
No. And you have to understand why. And I accept that. Because what would actually happen if we decided to be men? What would actually happen if we decided to federate Africa and put military weapon systems around the Congo and then tell the tech industry, we'll sell you at the coltan at a price that's equitable to us?
Or Firestone. Okay. Your rubber.
Well, just I mean,
you know what I mean? So you know what I mean?
Even just here, I mean, you know, of course, that would be the main goal is go reclaim, you know, homeland. But even with, like, if you look at the Nation of Islam with Farrakhan and them trying to buy up pieces of the cotton belt of Mississippi, just saying, hey, all we want is 20,000 acres of this little piece of this northwest Mississippi, south east Arkansas. You know what I'm saying, just give us that right there. But they know you can't have that much land because that gives you too much control. He said, well, that he's coming off instant like, oh, it's just a little piece of land. He know what it is.
Right.
He know what it can yield. You know what I'm saying? It's enough to sustain this many people. But they know if you had that, you can create that equity, not equality, which you find kind of starting to work up to equality means, yeah, you got $100, I got $100, but you already got 100,000 too. So that ain't equal. Equity means I got 100,000, you got 100,000, and we can apply it the same way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's a certain respect. So even here with that, they don't let that happen because they know, again, it comes back to that whole fear. And people say all the time, and he said it earlier, they'll say, well, you know, people shouldn't fear black people. Some you should. Some you should because they're working against your program. You know what I'm saying?
Now.
Like, you know, and I respect the man that I know to say, fear me. You got to deal me like this.
We know the greatest fear is success. And so what the whole Chunk Nation did, who controls basically the Winnebago, they started buying up their land back from the white farmers,
Mm-hmm.
and they did it quietly, like you said, it's in a quiet room.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then when it was too late, because they bought a large portion of the land back.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do.
Mhm.
We don't need to announce. But we need to start set up a plan, a strategy, and a timeline to implement.
Quiet strategy rooms, and we need to develop systems so that the unconscious ones among us, they can just plug in and out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I get that you don't get it,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I love you, but your unconscious ass is not about to come over here and destroy what we building over here.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? If you look at the system of white supremacy, it's set up in a system where white people can plug in and out of it whenever they want.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If there's a white person, he becomes a good person, he can plug out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that system is still there.
Still functioning, right?
Okay. And then they have quiet strategy rooms. Okay. They don't announce, you know, but we are, you know, materially spiritual people, like Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. We got to beat on that drum.
Yeah.
We want everybody involved.
Yeah.
We want to share the happiness.
Yeah.
We want to share the potential.
Yeah.
Okay. Those times have passed, brother. We're dealing with an opponent that operates out of darkness for darkness. Okay. And so it's war mode. There's a war going on. And so we need to understand that we need to be ready to match their extremes.
Yeah. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Man,
before we get out of here, I want to encourage us. This is a civil rights lady that came, the preachers invited her up during Martin Luther King celebration. And she said that one of the great mistakes of the civil rights movement was the non-teaching of them strategizing, teaching other people how to read, teaching other people how to plan, and teaching them how to implement a plan. All they showed were them at counters and that picket lines, but they didn't show the hard work, like you said, those private rooms.
Yeah.
Where they talk, if you can read, well, we're gonna teach you how to read so you can be part of the collective. And so that's what we need to do. Go to those quiet rooms if like I said, so we can start plugging in and out. If you don't have that certain discipline, well, we got someone to teach you that discipline. And so if you're a beta now, all right, we got some alpha around here. Eventually you're gonna be an alpha. You know what I mean? So we gotta have those kind of conversations, those kind of rooms. And then I got a grandson. My grandson is 4. My grandson, I got a new name. My name is Papa. My grandson has high expectations for me.
That's right. At 4. Yeah.
At 4.
Yeah.
He ain't playing. He come in, take his coat off, he got high expectations for his grandpa.
Yeah.
If grandpa don't fulfill,
Yeah.
then I'm letting them down.
Yeah.
I'm letting God down. So when I see that 4-year-old man, I said, my game.
Yeah.
So you ain't gonna teach. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he really 4 years running around the furniture, but he comes saying, Papa, he got his room. He got his own property. He got his little tent in his man. I can't disappoint. And so that's where I said, men, we gotta step up because we got little men.
Well, you know, our ancestors said that true intelligence resides in the heart. And this is why you see the images in ancient Kemet with the man with his left foot forward. And then you see the Masons, they stole that concept too, with the left foot forward, because the heart is on the left side. Okay. And so what that does is like what you're talking about. Okay. You're growing self-esteem. You're injecting self-esteem into your grandson when he comes up here and he looks at this.
Heck yeah, man.
You see what I'm saying? That's why they were saying true intelligence is in the heart, in the center of yourself. Okay. And so when you're injecting your grandson with self-esteem, how is he going to act when someone hates him? He's going to defend himself.
Yeah.
We ain't playing that.
And then he's going to go through his mind and get with other people. How do we come up with a strategy on how to deal with these people over here? Why? because I've been injected with self-esteem. My grandpa, my grandparents, my father, my parents, they place value on my existence, and I'm worth something. Period. Period. No, you don't offer me that. This is what I'm worth. No, you don't kill me in the street. I'm worth something.
Right.
You know what I mean? That self-esteem. If you notice in slavery, that's the thing that they strip from each generation. You're suffering, and I want you to suffer, and I want you to suffer peacefully.
I'm gonna tell you a story before we get out of here. I was with this brother, and there was a conflict, and it was a room full of people, and he had his baby with him. How old was your baby? How
She
was
was one there.
Okay, so she was one. Okay, and high conflict with with weaponry. You know what I mean? You know, potential weaponry. Well, weaponry was there. So, but this brother with his baby in his arm went up to the so-called boogeyman that particular day, because now he's the opposite. He went up to him real quiet with his baby, touched his brother's chest, and said, "Brother, real quietly, bro, you don't want to do that. Let's go outside." So that's how you handle the boogeyman. He did. He showed an example. He had his baby in his arm, but he still had power. And his baby was, he said it so calmly, the baby didn't get upset. You know what I mean? I mean, boy, that's a bad. He scared me. You know what I mean? I went outside. I said, "Is he talking to me?" You know what I mean? But we need that kind of alpha male that had that calmness, but had that power in order to influence the situation. It's necessary. I tell everybody about that story. I said, "Man, he real quiet." I said, "You don't want to do that." It didn't upset the baby. I think scared him. He was so quiet. But also it comes because he's an alpha male.
And they were young lions, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have to speak to them right way. Hold on, brother. Come here.
And that's where a lot of that comes from, though. It comes from the young lions or maybe somebody who's, it's fear. So when they're in the presence of power, righteous power, the same fear ain't there.
No.
I know you're not coming to me saying, "I better not do this because you're going to do this to me." You come to me as righteous power, and that's going to alleviate any unrighteous fear that you may have. That's what dads do, though.
Right.
That's why it's so important. That's what dads do.
Right.
Say, "Oh, it's cool."
And what I told them was, your masculinity is necessary at times, but this is not the time. We have women and children and people up in here. So what we got to do, all of us got to fight y'all. Because that's what we're going to do right here, bro. We're going to all be fighting you because you're acting a fool.
All in one.
Okay.
We don't play that.
Okay, we got elders in here. We got babies up in here. We at the Malcolm X Memorial Center. We ain't about to fight here. Okay. We don't waste Brother Malcolm's blood, bro. We don't waste any of our people's blood. Okay. That's sacred, man.
Right.
And we have to make sure our children get that message. We have to place the value on the right things. They don't know what's valuable.
Right. And I wanted to tell that story because it came to him as a father, but as an alpha father.
That's right.
And they need that. They just needed to hear that.
Right.
They didn't really want to hurt each other anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? They needed somebody to say, "No, man, you ain't gonna do that."
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's not gonna happen today.
Right. And even though he was disrespectful, he was very respectful. So it was a teaching moment at the same time. So I mean, I tell that story all the time because it's a teaching moment, but it's a moment where it was fire and he just put a little a dip of water.
That's like some stuff out of a movie, man. I should have the camera, bro.
You know what I mean? That's a bad dude. That's a bad dude. That's why I hang out with him. Man. Omaha, Nebraska, the Birds of Rust, the Buffs. We are talking to three brothers, handsome brothers too. By the way, tall, dark, and handsome.
Black man.
But we had a candid conversation. Hope you guys learn something today because these are things that we talk about. And if you're white, if you're Mexican, Chinese, you need to participate in our freedom. You need to take responsibility and participate in our freedom. Tomorrow's Black Friday. This is how y'all can do it. I'm gonna give y'all a plan. Black Friday, Black Friday, we consider every Black Friday we want you to spend money with Black business. We got business in West Omaha, Southwest Omaha, Bellevue, of course, in North Omaha. And so we want you guys to be purposeful because Black people spend money with everybody.
Well, not only that, brother, the new bill that Joe Biden them are trying to come out, the HR, whatever, to take gun rights. Okay.
Are they serious? They trying to take gun rights?
Yeah, they trying to take gun rights. And it will really impact our community the most with Black women. I don't know if you're aware of it.
Because they need protection.
Well, because of all the stuff that's been happening, most of the gun owners right now in our community are Black women.
Right.
And they need them because we got too many beta male bitches around here, to be honest.
I agree with you. I agree with you. That's
so they needed it.
Right.
It ain't enough of us that's gonna do something for them. So
right.
So we don't need to support anything like that will take protection out of Black women when they can protect themselves.
Well, the Republicans ain't gonna allow that.
Well, Black women need to not allow it, and we don't need to allow it. I don't want them disarmed.
Let me know more about that bill because that's part of the.
Well, they even trying to
create right.
Yeah, they're even trying to create licenses, insurance to make extra money off of it to make it hard for a poor person. Where you're gonna be like, man, I'm here, take the gun back. I can't afford it.
Oh, put more obstacles.
They're gonna try to charge you for that right. So we need to be very mindful of that. Okay. Yeah, because we don't need Black women that don't have no men to protect them, not to be able to afford to have a weapon when it's their right.
Right.
Rights are not negotiable, y'all.
Right. I agree with you.
Okay.
Mr. Farrakhan said that our community cannot raise no higher than a woman, and it's our responsibility to protect our women and children. No ifs, ands, or buts. Period. Omaha, the burbs, the bluffs. We are talking to three handsome brothers. I'll include myself in there. It is 10:30. It's going to be a beautiful day today. I think it'll be in the 50s. Get out and enjoy yourself. And I keep telling you, if you're white, you Mexican, you Chinese, if you go outside, you get a little darker. You Black. You Black. Without a doubt, baby. You Black. So quit hating on your we the followers of Earth. You can't time us. This is anthropology. Don't get mad at me because I use my intelligence. I brag off my education because my mama couldn't read or write because she picked cotton for y'all for free. I brags off my stuff for real. And so you're gonna get more of this. You're gonna get more of this dialogue, Omaha. And again, later on today, I got a special announcement. I'm gonna talk about the mayor's race and the logistics of that. I'm gonna make a special announcement at 4 o'clock. I'm gonna keep you abreast because I had some elders as well as some brothers and sisters that I respect, and they came and talked to me. And so sometimes you got to reevaluate things and not lie to self. And so I don't want to go through life and say, "Dang, I should have did that," because I come from an era where we didn't say shoulda, coulda, woulda. We got it done. Omaha, Nebraska, we are out of here. Boss with us.
Shoot, well, I'm about to go back to Kansas City. They're gonna be like,
it's just a public service announcement.
Are you tired of hearing about the coronavirus? Well, it's real.
I'm telling you, it's real. Here's what I want you all to do for me. Check this out, man.
Don't panic. If you're sick, stay home.
Stay away from me. It's contagious.
Stay at least 6 feet away from others.
The most dangerous disease.
Coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently and practice good hygiene.
Show these people what time it is, boy.
We can stop the spread of the virus.
Coronavirus. Cover your mouth. Say it.
So stay home, stop the spread, save lives. Most importantly, let's check on our elderly.
Word up, you ain't going out like this.
We're here to keep you informed.
Coronavirus! Just get it real.
In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.
Are you a business person fed up with working for someone else? Are you in sales and tired of traveling for and selling for a company you don't own? You could partner with ITEX, the country's largest retail trade exchange. ITEX helps individuals and businesses increase sales, move idle inventory, open new markets, and build cash profit. Now is a great time to partner with us in this fast-growing business. Visit omaha.itex.com. Become an ITEX partner. Visit omaha.itex.com.
It's just a public service announcement.
Are you tired of hearing about the coronavirus? Well, it's real.
I'm telling you, it's real. Here's what I want you all to do for me. Check this out, man.
Don't panic. If you're sick, stay home.
Stay away from me if you're contagious.
Stay at least 6 feet away from others.
The most dangerous disease. Coronavirus.
Wash your hands frequently and practice good hygiene.
Trying to show these people what time it is, boy.
We can stop the spread of the virus.
Coronavirus. Cover your mouth. Say it.
So stay home, stop the spread, save lives. Most importantly, let's check on our elderly.
Word up, you ain't going out like that.
We're here to keep you informed.
Coronavirus. Just get it real. Don't believe the hype.
In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.
Don't believe the hype.
Are you a business person fed up with working for someone else? Are you in sales and tired of traveling for and selling for a company you don't own? You could partner with ITEX, the country's largest retail trade exchange. ITEX helps individuals and businesses increase sales, move idle inventory, open new markets, cash profit. Now is a great time to partner with us in this fast-growing business. Visit omaha.itex.com. Become an ITEX partner. Visit omaha.itex.com.
It's just a public service announcement.
Are you tired of hearing about the coronavirus?
Coronavirus.
Well, it's real.
I'm telling you, it's real. Here's what I want you all to do for me. Check this out, man.
Don't panic. If you're sick, stay home.
Stay away from me if you're contagious.
Stay at least 6 feet away from others.
The most dangerous disease. Coronavirus.
Wash your hands frequently and practice good hygiene.
Trying to show these people what time it is, boy.
We can stop the spread of the virus.
Coronavirus. Cover your mouth. Say it.
So stay home, stop the spread, save lives. Most importantly, let's check on our elderly.
Word up, you ain't going out like that.
We're here to keep you informed.
Coronavirus. Just get it real. Don't believe the hype.
In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.
Don't believe the hype.
Are you a business person fed up with working for someone else? Are you in sales and tired of traveling for and selling for a company you don't own? You could partner with ITEX, the country's largest retail trade exchange. ITEX helps individuals and businesses increase sales, move idle inventory, open new markets, and build cash profit. Now is a great time to partner with us in this fast-growing business. Visit omaha.itex.com. Become an ITEX partner. Visit omaha.itex.com.
I took the 95 to get from West Palm. Think I need a break from everything. Yes, I'm stressed way more than usual. I'm getting things